I'm not where I want to be, but I'm in what was once a dream. So if I do some quick math, the future equals a dream come true. Since 1992, In All Honesty, a podcast by OLAVEORAWO.
Welcome to another episode of the In All Honesty podcast. My fabulous name is OLAVEORAWO, and we are recording this episode at the Trio Media Studios, that is in Lavington, Nairobi, Kenya. And as I keep telling you every other week, please come to this studio. They have a very cozy space, and it's also very, very friendly to your pocket. And we need to save those coins in this economy of a son from Sugoi. But in studio with me today are the Lastborns of the families and the privileged society.
Damn.
Well. What wamesema? The vote is in. Lastborns are spoiled, but I guess you're here to either confirm or
deny.
But with that said,
I already see how this will go, but okay.
Let's see.
Yeah, I also kinda.
I already see people commenting.
Spoiled Lastborns.
So we've had so many Lastborns, so that we have diverse experiences. We don't say that there's one Lastborn. Yeah. So
Like firstborns didn't even turn up.
the Firstborns,
They were busy being co-parents.
We're sending for Lastborn.
I reach Lastborn.
No, we were not being sended for the most abandoned population, you say.
We just vibe.
Yeah.
Tunaona vile Lastborns ni chaotic. Aya, sawa. We start
You
with
can't disrespect us.
introduce yourselves, Basi, the way you'd like to be known. We can start with the quietest Lastborn.
Okay, I'm soft spoken. Hello everyone. My name is Brian Kirui, the proudest lastborn in Kenya. She said privilege, but I don't agree. Maybe privilege in terms of the whips, the slavery. The
Oh,
way we slave for the firstborns and the secondborns, but we survive. It's been $1.
why are these
Yeah.
introductions so sass? It's okay. You can just say your name.
Okay,
It's
my
okay.
fabulous name is Brian Kirui.
Yours is also
You
fabulous.
said fabulous.
You said your fabulous name is Orao Olive. Why can't ours be fabulous too?
Lastborns.
Fantastic.
We are sorry.
So how long should the introductions last? Because I feel like I have to speak to all the firstborns.
No, wait. You will not address Firstborns like that.
So my fabulous name is Brian Kirui, like I said.
Yeah.
And we are here to talk in all honesty
Yes.
about being a last one.
Thank you, Brian. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having us
Or,
so that we can express our feelings.
you are not even the quietest one, Itoshe.
No, we've been bottling so much. So nowadays that atmosphere, we can speak out.
Being quiet is a coping mechanism.
Yeah, it's a coping. It's a survival mechanism, by the way.
Sasa tutaimaliza introductions leo.
Chat right
My name is Marylize Brian.
Yeah.
I'm here to be all honest about being a lastborn. I'm a lastborn, yes, but I wonder where the privilege part is for the lastborns, because everyone likes saying lastborns are very privileged. So
Yeah.
I hope by the end of this we would have established, not just for us here, but for all lastborns across the world. And I hope people really just start to doing right by lastborns and actually letting them enjoy the privilege.
If at all there's any.
Yes,
Okay.
the very much spoken privilege that lastborns have. Yeah.
Thank you for coming, B. I will not project.
Just go ahead and project, it's fine. That's why we are here. After all, you're a middle child.
Get into the projection.
And
We
the
have an
middle
hour
children
to-
and the middle children are very unseen, so we understand.
You're throwing shade. Fucking. Yes, Chantelle.
My name is Chantelle. I'm a podcaster too. I am I love calling myself the Gen Z millennial. Maybe we'll find out right by the end of this episode. I am here, in all honesty, to show you that Lastborns are also human beings.
You remind us
Hell
that
yeah.
every day, but
No, we don't.
And Dimajor.
Yes, yes. Hey, what's up, people? Can you hear me like perfectly, or should I move closer to the mic?
Oh,
Yeah.
so Chantelle wasn't heard.
No, but you have to be closer.
I have to be. Yeah. You see? You see?
Chantel was
Last
hard,
one,
but
we make
Chantel has
life
to be
easy,
close.
man. We don't want to chase it.
Eh,
Are you
Anyway,
are you a
my
firstborn
lord.
or a lastborn?
for a video.
Huh?
Are you a lastborn?
Last one.
Yeah.
Should be
You
here.
didn't even know us. You didn't even know. All of you can survive.
This video should be a vlog. I'm going to use it.
got
My last
to-
one too.
So guys,
So guys.
My lord. I should have had a co-host.
But anyway, thanks for having us. My name is Dimajor, aka the scientist. I am a creative. I do film, photography, and every cool things that Lastborns do. Yes. Yeah, I feel like we're the coolest people.
I mean,
Oh,
Yeah, you had the privilege to follow
stop
your
speaking
dream.
about privilege.
Yeah, but I
We
want you
can't
to
have
know.
worked hard to get here, then you tell us
I
it's
know.
privilege.
It's like how?
The rest of us were offending so you guys could walk.
Wow.
But I honestly understand where she comes from.
No.
No, I don't.
How?
No, we will establish as we go.
Yeah,
I
let's-
don't.
yeah,
I
yeah,
personally
yeah,
do
yeah,
not.
Yeah, I want to see that. I want to
Yes.
see that.
This has been the longest introductions in history.
Of the All Honesty podcast. Again, how would they know we are Lastborns?
Yeah, we bring out the honesty here.
Can you tell,
Guys,
contrary to what many people believe, that
Yeah.
we are privileged, we are seen, Sijuinin, can you tell we are not seen, and so when we are here, we want to be seen? Can you tell?
it's just you want to be seen all the time, and when you're
No,
not
that's
seen a
not
bit,
true. We are
you
not.
make noise.
We are not seen a bit. But let's go. And then I
Sawa. As usual, I send prompts on my Instagram. I do post prompts on my Instagram. Other Lastborns contributed, and so those
It is
will
just
be-
others.
How do you know it's a last one from a
No,
comment
the
or
ones who are
something?
commenting are
they-
supposed to be
because I
last
call out
ones.
for Lastborns, like
Ah,
send in your
okay,
stories and your
okay.
experiences, and so other Lastborns actually sent in their stories and their experiences, and those will be basically what will be triggering our talking points. So if you relate, if you want to build on the points, just let me know. Let's hear your thoughts. Let's have a conversation. I hope we can.
Yeah,
But we
I mean, that's why you called us.
Now, so it's 20 minutes in to Japita introductions. But anyway, on my Instagram, I asked Lastborns, is it true you had it easier? How was or is life as a Lastborn? And some of the responses that I got, the first person here told me, no, I definitely didn't. So it is not true. They agree that it's not true that life was easier for them. Someone else said, I had the pressure of having to perform better in school because those ahead of me were macho P. Does anyone experience
Yeah.
that?
All of us can agree to that. So
No, not all of us. Hey, me, I'm the smartest in our family.
I think the perspective of it is different because we could discuss
Sorry, bros.
chopi ni nani
Yeah.
or family. Definitely not. I mean, I'm a lastborn of 6 children,
Yeah.
so there's a lot to consider there.
So not all the
Sio
5
eti
might be
walikuwa
smart,
machopi,
right?
but the concept of performance anxiety comes in because there's expectation to do things,
Sorry.
some things like your older siblings. So for me, it's not
okay.
necessarily performance, because again, like with that, we can have a totally different conversation. But it's really, I look at it from a point of view, parents have fatigue, and you get to be the one who experience the winging part of parenting. And when they're not winging it, they're telling it, you do like Olive, be like Olive, do this. And you're like, I remember one of the most vivid ones for me is, if you grew up Catholic, there's this, I don't know how to call it in English, I swear, but like kukua wana Maria in church, you know, like going to go through this whole process with hopes of becoming a nun at some point in your life, which is always an interesting concept to think about altogether. But I have my 2 siblings, my sisters, because we are 4 girls and 2 boys, and so 2 of them were in that, and there was this suffocating pressure to also join that. And it's not because I wanted to or I didn't want to, but like the rebel in me was born because of the expectation that because they did it, I have to do it as well. And I'm like, at what point does anyone consider what I want? Do I want to do it? Probably I want to do it, but now I'm not going to do it because it's an expectation because of someone who did it, who is older than me. And I'm like, where is the paying attention to put into consideration the fact that I have things that I want and I want to make those decisions as well.
Autonomy for you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned shadowing.
Yeah. But mine is way different. I didn't grow up with any of my siblings around. So I got compared to people around me. So it was always me and them.
Cousins, friends.
Yes. Me and whoever is next to me. Me and whoever I'm being taken care of with. Yes.
All right.
That's unfortunate because you missed out on the experience of experiencing your older siblings.
Your siblings, yeah.
Older siblings are a whole new experience, which I think should be added to your CV.
Yeah. They're not an easy bunch, true.
Most of my academic milestones to the pace set by my older bros. Like my parents just had me take each and every step which my older siblings took, including all the whips, because they used to beat me all the time.
Parenting fatigue.
Yeah. So, growing up with older siblings, it's a whole new experience.
Okay.
This is so different because I can't relate to anything y'all are talking about. Yeah, because I think I mentioned to you, so I have 2 older bros, but they're not like far apart. Between me and like the eldest, it's only 6 years. So we were either in primary school around the same time. Of course,
high school will have a gap because
and then
6 years and 4 years,
6 years. And then high school will have a gap, and then of course Wakshenda Campo is so different. Yeah, but I can't remember anyone being compared to my older bros. I can't recall, to be honest. And then I think also it being like a boys only, you know, men just
you
I
mentioned.
have 2 older siblings, both of them are boys.
yeah. So I think male will just it's like a male, not ego per se, but like everyone will want to assert their sort of dominance in their own way. Of course, it's a house, so the parents will try put you in your own places, but everyone will like just try. And then male like guys are just simple guy. Mtu ataamka afanye tu kile kitu anataka na maisha isonge. So I can't remember being compared to anything.
Yeah.
Of course, the only unfortunate thing is y'all are male, so mkipigwa mtu mmoja akipigwa nyote mnawekwa kwa vita. Yeah, and then just guys are always up to something.
It's a thing from the society comparing siblings. It's a burden which the society, hata kama watu wasema, they always compare you guys.
Like, maybe I'll say maybe my parents never put it out.
They didn't verbalize it, but
Yes,
their actions didn't depict it.
I think also because we were at different points at some point, especially when you're a bit older, that's when you start realizing maybe you're being compared. I think now we were at different, because now you see my eldest alikuwa high school, me I was still in Primo, and then the other one was somewhere in between, and then akaingia Campo. By the time he's done with Campo, ndio mina join. So and also I think our folks are at different places in all that. So I genuinely can't remember being compared. All of us, I think even my bros would say the same thing. We were never compared. Yeah. But we have similarities, to be honest, because all of us have been prefects, all of us have led organizations, all of us somehow are into politics or in different stages. So I don't know if it's tulikuwa tunatry kukua like the elder one. Yeah, but
maybe
just,
sometimes it's subconscious.
Yeah.
Maybe you might not
That's
know
the
you're
net.
picking it
I
up.
think it's the net.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, but also you could be seeing what you're because my dad
Yeah.
has always been leading something somewhere. So
Okay, it
could be
just
also
passed down as well.
it's just passed down without knowing. Yeah.
But also, I feel like there's always the pressure of, you see, just like we're talking about performance, for example, and you see how an older sibling is treated when they perform. So you feel under pressure because you also want to be in the good books of your parents. So again, subconsciously, you're not being compared, but also subconsciously, you want to experience the glory that comes with it, yeah. Because then I remember one of the most weirdest experiences I had. I was young, and then my brother and I also have a gap, yeah, between us. But I remember when the year was beginning, after Christmas holidays, we were told anyone who will be in top 3, we were to choose. There was this particular bag, and I think I spoke about this experience in the other day. I still remember because this is one of the most heartbreaking core memories I have as a child. I was like barely I was in class 2 or class 3 if I'm not wrong. And then there's this particular bag. Then I didn't know blue was my favorite color. I thought orange was my favorite color. But there was this blue bag that was so beautiful, and then it had dolphins on it. And then we were shopping in a mall, and then I loved it. And then because I was so much of a tomboy growing up, I loved the backpack. And then my brother loved the one that was like a sling bag of some sort. And it's a book bag, but so we were told anyone who comes home in top 3 will get the bag. Not only did I perform well and I was in top 3, my brother didn't perform, like he wasn't in top 3. So by virtue of promise, he shouldn't have gotten any bag to begin with. But not only he didn't secure the bag. But not only were 2 bags bought, but mine was given to him because he's a boy and the sling is for more girlish and all that kind of stuff. Yes. Know, right? And it hurt. And I didn't know how it hurt because as a child, you're talked into believing those are good for boys and you're just easy. And then when you grow up, you realize these people, they actually played me. They did me dirty because I did. And so again, like I said, it's never really the concept of CG perform better than the other person. The conversation in there is really the pressure to be all these things, because from that point, there is then a need for me to create. And I remember when I called my relationship with my father, that's one of the things that up to date has been one of the biggest things that dented my relationship with my father, because I don't look at it from a point of I wasn't given the bag I want. I look at it from a point of my dad literally betrayed me, because what was the point then? Not I was not gonna perform, but what was the point of the promise?
That's TikTok that says it's not the action, it's
it's the principle. Exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, someone else here says no. Hey, where they wrote no, it's not true.
No, that's
exclamation. Parents actually expect more from you, Kwanzaa, if your sibling is difficult. So you are the
soft landing for them.
Your backup if the experiment did not work.
Yeah, something didn't work, so something must work with you. So it lands harder. Yes.
Hi, Sakaja.
Triggered. I don't know if you want to build on it before I move to the next one. You're good. I thought this was the most common response. This person said, let's just say I'm in therapy, learning how to trust my voice and opinions, because being a lastborn to me meant that I was always told what to do, and my opinions and ideas were always dismissed because I am a baby.
It's true. Same.
I think it's common for every family to what do we call this? Every opinion that comes out from the last born should first be validated by the older siblings before the parents can even decide to validate anything.
Yeah.
So when you say or do something, they'll just have to think, did the first one do this? Can the first one say this?
And sometimes it's the first one, the older siblings who are sent to you to like give you sense.
Yeah.
Like he wants to do this.
No matter how valid your point, your point is, they must first think,
Yeah.
is this something valid? Even giving it a second thought, it's a process. Yeah.
I think that's true, and I love that ameanza na reference ya kwenda therapy.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, first of all, every sibling, whether you're firstborn, middle child, lastborn, it doesn't matter. Twins, I saw you're calling twins here.
Yeah,
Could you remember
twins.
twins? What have you been? That is the thing.
Yeah.
But I think for the most part, yeah, every child has a different experience growing up, and I think that is not spoken about enough. Now, that said, I think for me, one of the biggest things that stood out as a lastborn, see, marriages are marriages and stuff happen in marriages, right? But as a lastborn, I got the harshest end of it. So my siblings have different experiences, because when my siblings were growing up, things were much calmer, things were much well planned and all that kind of stuff. For example, even when I spoke about things that were traumatic to me, my sisters and brothers wouldn't relate, because when they were growing up, they grew up in a time where the waters were calm, things were, so they have a different experience. For example, I can say for the most part of my life, I don't even know if my parents are still together. That's a whole different conversation altogether. But for the time that I was growing up with my parents, my siblings experienced both parents. I experienced some sort of a single parenting, because my dad, he was just being what they like saying, being a man or whatever that is. And so when I speak about my experiences as a child, they're weird, because my siblings went to school. It was a smooth experience. Preschool, primary school, high school, pursue whatever it is that you're pursuing. I had to retake my class 8 exam because my father was flaking and being a shitty father altogether. And then I had to stay a year at home before going to Form 1, because he was doing it again. And then I had to stay a year at home again before going to Form 2, because he was doing it again.
Yeah.
But you see, no matter how much I speak about this experience, it will be different from my siblings. And it's easy for people to say, you're a lastborn, unapendekezwa, but I'm like, where was my father when I was missing out on these somewhat normal experiences for a child? And when I speak about those, then it's easy, again, for people to think you're just complaining, because there's a whole 5 children ahead of you saying a totally different story. And then you look like you're lying and all that. So it kind of takes away your voice, because you're like, nikisema nitaangaliwa aje. And this word, throwing, like putting the families that in and out there has been thrown to me so many times. So sometimes you even feel guilty, because you're guilt-tripped into believing these are family things. They're normal things. We shouldn't talk about them. But in reality, are they? And why isn't there room for me to speak about my experiences? Even when I know we all grew up in the same home, and your perspective about our parents or our experiences are totally different compared to mine.
I feel like your story is the same story of my life, because most of your experiences I've had to deal with the same, because I was also on the receiving end of my parents' conflicts. And most of that time was my most critical time, like my exam period.
Absolutely.
So they have to compare my older siblings' flawless academic journey to mine. And mine is full of chaos. It's so chaotic. I was top of the class, and my dad failed to come to school on closing day.
And of course that is gonna break you.
That's traumatic.
That's traumatic.
Yani, the school has mentioned you.
Wow.
Okay, and the moms too, but now we're talking about the dads.
No, my mom failed to come, just like a punishment to my dad. Like, why can't he come?
Again,
Why-
so you're seeing another perspective. So mom is punishing dad, who is receiving all that is the child, because the child doesn't care if you people are fighting.
And on my
The child
end-
just wants a parent there. Come on, guys.
On my end, I left home in the morning telling them, you guys should come. I'll be on top of the class. Kama kawaida. And then my older siblings, they were in boarding school. Now I was a day scholar, so I every time they would fight, I was there. So I could go to school. You know, they always took me to the bus stop, and the nights when they had an argument, I would go alone. And that same day was closing day, and then they failed to come. Just imagine what that would do. And then when I start failing exams, they start asking, what are you doing? Can you look at your brother? He wasn't like this. Oh, this and that.
That's a lot.
That's the children.
So I feel like, in fact, thank you for this opportunity to air out our because I feel like no one's ever really sat us down to ask us, what's the problem? What's it like being you?
Yeah, I think we don't even realize that you deal with a completely different parent than the one you've had before. And it almost seems, okay, I'll just learn from the stories, but it almost seems like lastborns get to experience the cracks in their parents. The rest of us are just out here like, couple goals, my mom, my dad.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's you who's
true.
walked into like weird conversations with those two.
Yeah.
It's you.
You
Almost
catch
as if they
your
forgot you
dad
exist.
cheating, and somehow you have to carry that burden.
And then,
Or you catch your mom doing a shady
funny
thing.
thing, they assume that we are too young to
To know
understand
exactly.
what's going on.
Please.
Only, you wouldn't understand. Only these people can understand each other. You wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
But also the flip side is true, because at times firstborns are born when sort of your parents have
Yes.
made it.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah.
So I think the privilege people imagine we have, it's because maybe because my folks and I think we were talking to my mom a while back, and she was like, hey, when you guys were being born, you didn't know what to do, didn't think we'd make it, and then just things flipped and kind of like things looked better and all those things. Yeah, and I'm like, I'm happy then, I'm enjoying it. I'm the youngest, probably
Yes.
the one who's be home most of the time.
Yeah.
And somehow, I think lastborns too, tunakuanga tu hapo na wazazi in most of the things. I think also because we are very close to our parents.
Are we?
You know, there's this...
Maybe they carried you around a lot.
Yeah, there's this notion in I hear like parents say, oh, this is like my kibeti. You see the last one, I'm Toto. Always. So they somehow carry you around when it's something, you're the one who, I don't know about you, but like, so kind of, since you're a bit close, as they say, whoever is closest to the fire gets burned. So you will see all those two small things, whether you want it or don't. Yeah, so I feel like there's very many sides to this whole lastborn story.
Before we go any further, I think I came to this podcast to say this. If you're gonna have children, please buckle up for being a parent.
Word.
Buckle up for being a parent, because even as I was listening to the podcast for firstborns, no child has to take up responsibility to bring up other children, because and the bitterness that a lot of firstborns have towards, especially or firstborns and middle children towards lastborn, is the assumption that they really stepped up, but like did they really have to? Unless in unique circumstances where like your parents died in a tragic accident or something happened, or their marriage ended, and like somehow kids were just left to figure shit out by themselves. I understand that you're stepping up because you feel like, I'm older, I know better, I can do something, right? But like general perspective of parenting, can you just bear children if you want to buckle up to parent? Because no child deserves to be parenting other children. No child deserves to grow up with responsibility trauma, because then now we have firstborns, we have middle children who don't know how to even take care of themselves, not because they can't, they're just used to, they make money, it goes to people. And now in their relationships, they make money, they give it to the husband. In their workplaces, they make money, wanakopesha kila mtu, and they have needs from here to where. And all that is culminated in, I was busy taking care of my younger siblings or our last born. And I'm like, you're also making a last born feel like they're guilty for something and they're not. It's parents who failed. Now, last borns have to deal with, again, the cracks that you talked about, but also they have to deal with you're lashing out and the bitterness, because it's valid, but it's being taken on a wrong person, because the last born didn't come to the first born and tell them, raise me.
Yeah.
The parents failed, that's why the first born had to do that. So buckle up. As many children as you're having, treat it like a new experience all the time. The same way you were there for your firstborn and brought them up until such a time you felt like, I can trust my child who is just 12, 13 to take care of others. Bring these other children up, not with expectation for them to bring other children up, with expectation for them to grow and figure their life out. Yeah.
You wanted to say something.
me, I cannot relate to any of you guys.
Yeah.
I grew up. My mom was a single mom, and she had it figured out. And this is why I love myself. That I never slept hard. But so she passed away when I was 12. I was in class 8. And now I started living. So this is me being responsible for myself, while still expecting. I don't know. I was just a child. I just needed guidance. That's what I can say. Because so now I'm growing up with like different people that talk from here to India, my relatives' place, and then talk how. So it's always a new experience for me. So I'm always adapting. So I am coming in, and then I have to like learn the environment. How do people like talk here? Can I like express myself freely? It was always a new experience. But these people, as they're taking me in, they forget I'm just like a child. So when I come in with them having expectations of, she's a girl, she's supposed to know how to do these things. Yeah. So me sleep until around like 9, and then I wake up and that's talking to me and everything's been done. Remember?
When it's talking to you. Silent treatment.
So I'm like, okay, so then I get nervous and I don't know how to speak. So it went up. I ended up starting to bottle up stuff. So I feel like this is not right, and I can't speak about it. So what it has, I like that. Are we still in the therapy session?
Yes.
I like that she's going to therapy. I've been doing this myself just because I can't afford therapy right now. It's a very long process. If you can't afford therapy, just go. But so I've had to like be broken so many times. I have had like some victim mentality at some point that I didn't grow up with anyone around. So someone pulled me out of that, and I started being responsible for myself. I started identifying. Then I noticed that there was a time when I was very young, extremely young. I was sexually abused, and I tried talking about sexually abused by someone you don't expect to, literally. So when I talked about it, I didn't hear anything about it anymore. I was in class 3, but I'm a very young girl. In class 3, I was 7 years.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was 7 years old. And no one talked about it. I remember at that time. Hey, okay, so I am half Kenyan, half Uganda, so I was in Uganda with my aunt. I don't want to blame him, I don't know, I have no idea. So my dad, I was in Uganda, I was supposed to be staying with my dad, but I did not. I was not staying with my dad. I still kept staying with my relatives. So see, this is
even after the
me at
incident.
7 years.
Yeah.
My mom is in Kenya, she's doing her stuff. They had taken me to like a very good school. Suddenly I got ruled out. I'm not so sure what happened. And I also know that it's not my dad who's taking care of my fees and stuff. Yeah, it was like my auntie. But thank God for that woman, wherever she is. Yeah. But then, see, she of course, I'm like an extra, so she had to like balance stuff. That's how I think about it, I don't know. So when I had been changed, like schools and all. I was just chilling with my cousins, and then one of my other aunties says, and that's why this guy who sexually abused me said all I do is lie. That's why it started. So what I do is I don't communicate. I just build up, and then when it overwhelms me, I run away. So I have run away from a lot of people, including my siblings. I love my siblings if they ever get to watch this. Well, I've still not forgiven them. And the worst part is they don't know why I'm supposed to forgive them. I've had like it's been a
Oh yeah.
and we'll just get to one another as we go.
So you feel like for your siblings, do you feel like they didn't reach out? They didn't find you?
The time I was I've lived with my siblings too. Yeah. I've lived with my siblings. They took me a time when anyway, but then things happened and my sibling, like this particular sibling was not very well off. She was really trying to like help me out. But then it's someone who like has kids and an extra sister, an extra mouth she's feeding. This sister is not going anywhere, like anashinda tu kwa nyumba haendi atafuta kazi. Things started happening. So maybe they do it and subconsciously and they don't realize it, but I do and I don't speak about it. Because you either won't listen, or we end up fighting it. I hate confrontations. I've never been in a fight my whole life. I'd rather run. Call me a coward. Yeah, so yeah, things like so I have lived with them, so it's not even about them reaching out.
Yeah, okay.
It's very different.
So you mentioned something that also came up in the firstborn episode, where the firstborn sometimes would struggle to like clean up their CV for their siblings. So like maybe the way it went around that Chantelle is a liar, you find it gets to a point where even your siblings believe you're a liar. So some of the things you're saying, no one is really believing you. Everyone just thinks you're a drama queen.
You're actually bitter now.
And you have to, now in your adulthood, you have to grow and probably mend these relationships or pull away from them completely and live like you never had siblings ever.
Because even when you are supposed to, sort things out, there's always the gray area of like, what am I sorting? There was so much that was happening. And I love that she has brought the aspect of believability in the whole concept. There's a lot of, and I guess what I'm picking up here, and I'm glad that we are like, men and women in the panel. That means you get to have also a different perspective, because also there's a whole perspective that comes in when you grow up in a home as a boy child versus as a girl child. And I think listening to her, the part where I relate is going through violence by family members, because they're not strangers. When you're kids, the violence you're experiencing, especially sexual violence, it's happening with family members, people who know you. And when you talk about it, it's never talked about, and no one believes you. And the idea of lying is perpetrated by the fact, again, we spoke about this in the other podcast, where I was telling you, I'm in high school. The first time I was defiled was by my uncle. I was 10 years old. The second time was by my brother-in-law. I was staying with my sister. The year that I was in Form 1, because when I ended up not going to Form 1, I ended up going to a day school, even when I had performed really well and I had been called to a national boarding school. And so I ended up going to day school and living with my sister. Their schedules were, my sister's a teacher, so during the day she'd go to work. And then her husband, I don't know what he does, but I know he works in the hotel industry, so I don't know what role he has there. And that time he was working at, what's this place in Langata Road? Carnival. He was working at Carnival. And so during the day, he'd mostly be at home. And I'm at home because it's August, it's during holidays. And that's when the defilement happened. But when I reported it immediately to my sister, to my mom, and all that, for some interesting reason, he told them I lied. I'm the one who seduced him. And so I was made to apologize to him. But you see, that already stuck for all my life, because not only was I made to stay with my sister until the end of the year, it means I stayed with my abuser in the same house for the rest of the year. It means everyone believed he was not lying and I was lying. So my whole life I have to deal with the fact that I lied. But it's not true, I didn't lie. It was true that that happened. So as an adult, there's a lot of pressure to reconcile with some people and to mend things, but also the pressure, the burden comes with you being expected to do something, but like it's not you who has to do something. So it's a very hard in between, because it's not like you don't want those relationships, but like how do you want them? I'm not going with all that I know now, but also with who that I am now. I'm not going to intentionally seek out my sister to reconcile with her. Not after she sat and watched all that happening. So a lot of reconciliation will need her to stand up on business and do stuff. But she's not gonna do it because she wants to save her marriage for whatever reason. It's not the right thing, but it's what she wants. I understand that, but I also don't have to get the hard part of it where I have to deal with the guilt, but also to ask for forgiveness or to reconcile or to mend relationships. So it's complicated in that way. But meanwhile, the conversation out here will always be, but you're a lastborn, you get everything I want. I'm sure by the time, as you're listening here, it's not about getting everything that you want. We still have to work our way into the things that we want, and with so much obstacles to begin with. Obstacles that are not spoken about, because you're a lastborn, firstborn, secondborns, all middle. Everyone who is older than you has to validate what you're saying first before it's deemed the truth. But before that happens, you have to deal with all that.
But I feel like growing up in a male thingy, I feel like conflict was an important part of the family dynamic, because there's nothing like fighting with your sibling and then reconciling. You would maybe make up over some FIFA, and that would be the best bonding experience, because many times I've had to fight for my place in the family, my opinion, my everything. So sometimes it could get physical. Like for example, when my big bro blames something on me and I know I didn't do it, and my dad kind of seems to believe him, so I get angry.
You have to punch your way out of the situation.
I feel like the male thing is more like a male.
It's an ego thing, you think? Okay.
Even animals, they do that. See, that's like hippos. When a male hippo is born, like the father will kill that male, and like it's the work of the mother to guard this male. And like on the day, because I think the mother kind of knows the day the dad will come to kill this. So, and hopefully train this like male whatever hippo, that when that day comes, he will win that fight. Or he will survive, sort of. And so I feel like it's more, because countless times we fought countless times for random things, even for something like a mug, a cup,
a remote,
or some food. Or someone does this while left in the house. Like, and most of the time it was physical, because men don't know how to talk. Like, you can't talk.
Can't go inward. It's always, let's get this done and let's leave.
Like, I'm thinking,
So,
to some extent, it was a bad thing, but this is how men kind of. And I feel like
it's how we bond.
Also, because
we bond over something.
After corner feelings that I
feel like there's a whole opinion I have on that, but it's a totally different subject. But can we it? You can start,
Unlike the whole
believability,
what me in a position where all my relationships have suffered. Doesn't matter whether it's a friendship, a sibling,
a romantic relationship, everything.
You don't talk to me, you don't have this hard conversation, I'm gonna heal on this crime scene. So I will bottle up, heal. Then I will leave you. So I leave you hurting, meaning
by the time I'm leaving, I'm gone.
I leave you hurting. Umenifanyia chill.
It's so funny you mentioned
that. So that's me.
Women heal the crime.
Really funny tweet.
And I think that's the thing. So for me, when he was saying that, the thing that came to mind is is that a reflection of the many things that happen with regards to relationships, any kind really, work relationship, romantic, familial even, with regards to the kind of violence women receive? Because in a society where the ideal should be even boys being taught to go inward and find ways to deal with conflict. Conflicts will always happen. I don't think the solution is ever to not have conflicts, because conflicts will always happen. But the idea behind it is the going inward is the ability to sit and have a conversation. Okay, fine, you moved my mug from here. Like you said, it's a damn thing. At the end of the day, you move my mug from here to there. Why can't we sit and talk about why did you move my mug? It's not your mug, it's mine, and you know it. Why did you move my mug? And then the other person then sits to themselves and asks and says, I'm sorry for moving your mug. The intention behind moving was because I was trying to clean up, but I'm sorry I didn't know you had not finished with the mug. Then it's solved. But because boy children are taught, let's fight it out. So it's not that fighting is a bad thing, because even as girls sometimes we fight. Kikiumana, you fight, right? But like it's always the last resolve to fight someone. The idea of it is, why can't we sit and talk about it? So in an event like what I'm saying, healing in a crime scene, is where you find a lot of women, like even when you look at, for example, divorce cases, by the time a woman is agreeing to divorce, that babe, hata ukimwambia mali yangu hupati, anakwambia nani amekwambia naitisha mali. I've been out of this place a long time ago. It's so weird that you're thinking I'm here because of money. Or if she decides to fight you because of everything, she will fight you like she's hurting, but the thing is she doesn't feel anything. She's fighting like a person who recovered from all these things. You are now receiving it, and then now the bigger picture of it is like we're talking about femicide, we're talking about gender-based violence, we're talking how is the reflection of that, and what then as a society, what conversations do we need to have with regards to things. I love how he was saying playing FIFA is bonding. So they argued over something, and they realized, okay, fine, we don't want to go inward, but when we are playing FIFA and beating stories, because we talk about whatever it is that we're doing, we get to self-regulate and all that kind of stuff, then it doesn't have, like, alternative ways of dealing with these things. Whereas now, Sisi, as girls, as last-born children, we don't have people to fight. First of all, you're the last born. How can you fight?
True.
You have no one to fight. So the idea of I can fight doesn't work there, first of all. And then the second thing, there's a lot of people you have to prove yourself to before you're believed. So you can't fight physically. You can't fight using communication. You can't fight using emotions, because ukilia unaambia lastborn unapenda kulialia. That's why a lot of lastborns, if you look closely, I know people like saying we like to complain. No, it's because lastborns bottle a lot of emotions. Ukilia unaambia unapenda kulialia, so uliange sana. So when you finally know how to speak, you literally everything that makes you uncomfortable, no matter how tiny it is, imagine stay away from me because I have so many emotions that are pending that I have to spend at some point while I'm living, and it manifests as though we are complaining, but in reality tumeshazoea kunyamazishwa, so we don't want to take any uncomfortability.
I think the thing for lastborns is you're babied at convenience. You're a baby. But when you need to speak up, when you're now crying. No, you shouldn't cry, but babies should cry. Or when you're complaining, babies complain, but no, not now. But
choose
I have an opinion. No, you're a baby. So you are babied at convenience. Like whenever it's convenient for the parents, I guess.
People want to cut the line. I have a baby.
We are babied so much.
But when they get in front, when your mother unafanyia kelele.
So we are babied so much such that when it reaches a point where sasa we now have an opinion of ourselves. Sasa imefika time for us to voice our concerns. Suddenly you are like, when did you start getting serious? And why should we take you serious? What happened to that baby? We know. That's how it becomes difficult for anyone to validate your opinion, because they think so you amekuwa mtoto dhana, amekuwa mkubwa lini yule batari.
Kizaliwa nilikuwa nakula githeri.
Yeah, comments like that. Unajua nilikufunga diaper. How are you claiming labor?
I know.
Like, come on, you should be asking your
Unajua
parents why.
nimezaliwa nikikuona. I'm like, hey, watu wengi wananiona.
That was the only.
Nimezaliwa watu hawakukuona.
Like literally, kids are born for people to see, because
I know.
apparently everyone wants to come and see the child. So you just did an average normal human thing. Take a chill pill.
Like kids are born and people see.
You have to play your part.
Yeah. So this discussion has, let me, yes?
Okay.
Yeah.
Your part here, we Lastborns complain a lot. I don't think it's complaining.
Yeah.
We both love a lot of emotion, so we are always defending ourselves.
There's also the aspect of defense.
Yeah.
Everything is an injustice towards the last one. I feel that way.
Okay.
And headquarters for conflict.
People view the last ones. I think, as you said, they feel like they just want to crash on, not crash, like just
Yeah.
stop last ones from
Yeah.
for some weird reason. We don't know why. It's like we showed up and it's like we stopped the supply of air or something.
Yeah.
What you
I know, man. And I'm like, yo, I was just born just the way you are.
And you're still breathing.
Yeah,
Come on now.
It's changed. Like, I'm just human.
Unless you're an only child, the last one will always exist. Or the
I
like,
know.
Also,
True.
yeah. Also, something we don't talk about a lot, yeah? Lastborns are blamed for the very thing everyone wants. So, everyone loves attention.
Yeah.
And even you see videos on Reels on TikTok where children struggle to accept their new siblings, not because they hate them, but because a lot changes. And this
attention.
reminds me, when one of my siblings, my third-born sibling, one of my brothers, when he had his second-born child, his firstborn was already, I think, 4 or 5, if I'm not wrong. And I remember the firstborn, there's a day she sat kwa baby cot. Ilikuwa basket baby cot ya kukaa na mtoto kwa living room. Akaiobserve, alikuwa amefunikwa blanket. Akaiobserve for long. Kishikashika hiyo blanket. Alafu akaeleza tu mamake, Mom, why don't I have a blanket as soft as the babies? And why don't you speak to me the way you speak to baby? Now, there's a lot to unpack there with regards to trauma. Parents, like I said, if you're going to be a parent buckle up to be a parent. Parents have children for whatever reason, but they don't put into consideration so many things. So the bitterness that is transferred by older siblings to lastborns is because the lastborns are the last ones to receive the attention that they never got fully of, which, fair enough. That's a fair thing, because children human beings in general need and deserve attention. Yeah. They deserve to be cared for. Having another child should not mean the kind of care you give the other child should change. You should figure out the ability to have the bandwidth to continuously give all your children literally the same care they're used to. So that if you have a new child, but your firstborn child used to enjoy bath time with you, don't take away bath time because you're busy with the child. Figure out a way to maneuver, create a bath time, create a culture for this new child, while maintaining a culture that soothes this child, because children don't need soothing. Yeah. But a lot of parents don't consider that. So then how it manifests when we're growing up is older siblings hating younger siblings, and younger siblings hating older siblings, because the assumption is younger siblings are getting what they didn't get enough of. And then the parents also have not figured out the whole thing. So they're not necessarily even giving this child what they need, because this child has to get care and attention from their older siblings who are not equipped to be parents, because you're a child. You don't have the capacity, the tools, the bandwidth, the mental capacity to be a parent. So you're doing it as a thing of service. Mtoto anafaa kuoshwa, enda uoshe mtoto.
It's a chore,
yes,
it's an errand.
You're just like doing it kama kazi, lakini venye mzazi anaoshanga mtoto, labda kaanga wanachapa story, they talk about different things. Wewe kama sibling,
Cover.
kuja ama nikuoshe ama you get. So it's like a lot of things change, but also a lot of things are lost in that. Now children grow up and they're like, and they can see, because they always can see. Either they can see or they can feel, but children understand these things.
But I'm not gonna lie, I think the attention is the prime of my last born, being a last born. I feel like that was the best thing that happened to me.
From your parents?
Yeah.
From my parents.
You're lucky you got it
Yeah.
then.
Because even at now, I'm sure my mom has called me, and that's one of the nicest things I know. Because
must be
every
nice.
time
That woman.
Must
bless
be
that
nice.
woman.
Indeed, right? Some of us don't even know when to talk to our parents, but it's fine.
Because
We are not
every
even
time-
venting. We are not even complaining as lastborns.
Oh, that's so true.
I mean, hata sisikii vibaya, but you're tearing.
Lakini me, I played the part. I played the part well. I played a last born so well that
Yeah.
my mom seems to think she can't outgrow that phase. And she loved
last
having
born.
me as last born forever.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good. So there's something that has come up in this discussion. It might not be related to Lastborns, but I think it's come up and I need to address it. From your experiences here, parents, be very keen about how you raise boys and girls.
Yeah.
Like the experiences you two have described, the way you sort out conflict and all that. Whatever you are sorting out was fighting over a remote. The two experiences these girls have talked about is sexual assault. The gravity of that matter is completely different.
Yes.
And sometimes you don't realize how much you're hurting. Just be keen on the girls in the family. If you see anything, even I'd speak even to like brothers. If you're a girl, if you're a boy, you have girls as siblings. Just like be on the lookout, because what women go through, the kind of traumatic experience that girls go through, are things that really you don't know how to recover from.
Yeah.
It's almost.
Also, to add on that, I think parents, especially dads, they are so stuck on their parental role that is providing. They
Yeah.
forget the emotional part, bonding with your child. For the girl child, your dad is supposed to talk to you,
Yes.
what's going on, what's happening.
And protect you from some of those
And
things.
protect you.
Maybe
And at least
yeah.
believe you.
Yeah, and
At
maybe he
least.
might not prevent them from happening,
Yeah.
but how he acts after they happen
Yeah.
makes a huge difference
Yeah.
and shapes a lot of perspective for girl children, for women towards the world, because a lot of times the way women view the world is not, people would think because of an abusive partner, but it started from somewhere. It started from somewhere, and when you look closely and you trace back through the footprints, or rather the whatever prints we are making at this point,
Yeah.
you will realize there is a point where it's the father who contributed to all those things.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think, not to sound very negative, I think also we should be a bit, what's the word? Because now we are adults, we can see things. And I think also our parents, I think most of us are millennials.
Is that just Gillian?
I think to some extent our parents didn't know of so many things.
They didn't know any better.
Yeah, they didn't know any better, either by the situations they were going through.
It's either naivety or ignorance.
I can't say naivety to some extent, but you can't say, because one thing, something you don't know,
Yeah.
hurt you?
I don't know.
is, for example, a good example is you hear the experiences of the women. I'll tell you a funny story. So I grew up in a male's world, to be honest. We
Yeah.
make this joke, my mom is our caretaker.
Yeah.
Because it's just men in the house. So many things I had no idea.
I don't need to say.
Yeah.
That's that woman.
Yeah, she's the best. So, funny story. I think very recently, I won't say when, I always thought like periods come like at the end, at the morning. No, that's a lie. You see the way we pay rent like by fee. So I'd imagine,
On 30th.
so I'd imagine
At the risk of sounding ageist, this is white hair.
no, let me learn my point. So, and I'm saying this in the sense of like, especially the men now, and to some extent even what's happening in the femicide and all these things. It's not like it's ignorance. It's just the world and the society the way it is. It makes these things not known to us men. Like maybe some of us, I won't say we are woke, but like we interact and
have an awareness.
Yes, we are a bit aware of all these things. And I'll tell you, it took one of my girlfriends then to have this going, and now that's when I understood there's 21 days, 24 days, and it can land on any day, like it could be 10th, and my periods are like, so I hear 10th. So, like, it sounds so stupid now when I say it, but that's how my world was, and I thought that's how it happens. And you can't say maybe I was naive, but you can't say I was ignorant.
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
That's true, because if in school when they used to bring pads and teach us about our menstruation, the boys kicked out. Where were they supposed to learn about that?
Yeah, and I don't have a sister, because at times if you have like a sibling,
maybe
you may not see your parents do that. But if you have like siblings, somehow you're always in each other's life. Yeah. So at one day I'll see my sister, for example, with a pad, and I'm like, oh, what's that? And maybe they'll tell me what it is, because kids will be like, this.
Yeah.
Like something like that. So some things, I think I've seen a part.
Yeah.
Just recently, to be honest. So that's why I'm saying it's now going back to our parents. I can't say they were ignorant, to be honest. It's what they know. It's what they knew. It's what they know, and that's what they did. It's only now when we, I think, have a bit of information now, we're like, I don't think that was cool.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't think that's worked. And I think for us now, having been this generation that sort of has information, is to do better. As you're saying, like, give the other child one.
Custom make care. Let every child be cared according to the immediate needs, not according to how you cared for the other child.
The most informed generation, like let's use this information to do better, to be better. Please don't call us. Yes, don't date us.
He's saying something, and then I have something to say too.
I think the way the society has worked it out.
How's that joke?
Like they have a certain blueprint for all the children, which is the same as across. That's why you won't find this parent talking to their child and that one isn't. Both aren't talking to their kids, especially the dads, because the moms, most of the time, they are at home with the kids. So they will, maybe the scene on TV will play, and then it will spark the conversation. Then they'll have the talk. Otherwise, the dad, maybe come on the weekend, he's out with friends. Then it's Sunday, and then it's Monday, he's gone again until Friday. So that's how they won't have that conversation with any child.
I think for me, I want to say the part of extending grace to parents because they didn't know any better. I have a totally different point and worldview of it. And the reason I have the different point and worldview of it is because we are grown now and we know better and we want better, healthier relationships. But many parents are stuck at, but I'm your mother, I'm your father, to still get away with the nonsense.
You think they know better now? You know better.
I'm not saying they know better. I'm not saying they know better, but I'm asking myself, so am I supposed to be comfortable with the abuse because they're not going to know better ever? I also didn't know better, and now I'm grown, I'm teaching myself. The reason I want to know better is because I want to become a better member of the society. I will not have children, but if I was going to have children, I also want to be a different version from what my parents were to me. They also have that responsibility. They can't, the excuse of, your parents are old, they grew up in a different time. Well, hello honey, smell the coffee, wake up. It's a different time. You have to change. And there has to be that willingness. And that's what I'm saying, don't be stuck at, I'm your mother, I'm your father. If I'm coming to you and telling you, when we were younger, you did ABCD and this thing hurt me, I'm not asking you, owning that vulnerability and sitting with me through the process so that we all can unlearn and learn new ways of interacting with each other would never take away your title to be a parent. Even the shittiest parents still remain our parents. Even the parents, I've not seen my mother and my father in the last almost 6 years. I will never walk out here without a print of the fact that they're my parents. That will never leave me. So that will never be taken away from you. but there's consequences to a lot of other things. And so there's a lot of burden placed again. It's the same way when I'm having conversation, I'm a human rights activist, so my conversations are always very nuanced with regards to how we experience the society. It's the same way we tell a victim of violence to understand or to forgive. You have to understand you're dealing with a person who is a victim. The other person isn't a victim, is a perpetrator. When your parent harmed you, when a parent did things, when your parents didn't believe you, when your parents stayed quiet when you experienced anything, your parents were being perpetrators. It's very difficult, it's very unfair also to expect a victim to understand a perpetrator when a perpetrator is not doing anything to work towards me understanding them. So, like I'm saying, don't be so stuck at I'm a parent. Yes, you're a parent. That title will never be taken away from you.
Yeah.
But bring yourself not necessarily down. Bring yourself to a place of understanding. It's the same way we are told when you're hanging out with kids, the most important skill to learn is be a child with children. You can't be there all the time being an adult. Many kids won't understand you if you're busy being an adult. But if you bring yourself to a level where kwa nini unagombanisha mtoto because they spilled a cup of tea? Kids are like that. They're all over the place. Sometimes bring yourself to understand the kid did this. You can't tell the kid what they did is wrong without making them feel like they've now committed a crime and they deserve to be in jail for something.
Yeah.
You know, you can't make them understand what they did is wrong. So the same for parents. Bring it down a notch. This parenting thing. And sometimes listen, now I'm an adult. Yes, I'm still your child. But now I'm an adult. I have created this whole being that I am.
Yeah.
And I have my own worldview. I have my own opinions. And trust me, all the things that I believe in are shaped hugely by the experience I had with you people when I was growing up. So it can either be good or bad. And if it's bad, you are the people who either taught me that, people who made me believe all those things, and now I have. So when I'm coming to you and telling you, you did this and it harmed me, and then you keep on insisting that you're my parent, I should understand, or I didn't know any better. Okay, now you know better. What can we do to mend this? Because this dented how I see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've talked about rationality.
Yeah.
And I want to chime in all of your points.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll start with the attention thing. For someone like me, I didn't grow up with attention. I grew up in boarding schools.
Yeah.
So it was me against myself. So I just grew up with myself. So I don't have that whole my parents did, my teachers did. I knew it was me and myself. Now when it comes to rationality, we understand that as much as we also talked about naivety and ignorance.
Yes.
It's very possible for them to be naive and ignorant.
Yeah. True.
It's also possible for them to not be able to be in a position to have this conversation with you. So I got to a point where I have to understand this. I am not ready yet. And it's okay. I don't have to forgive them right now. It's fine, but I will move on. So I don't have to base the fact on you still think that you're my mom so you can do what you want to do.
Yeah.
You still think that you're my uncle so you're entitled. That's your thinking, that's your ego, that's on you.
Yeah. So that's why I was saying the repercussions part of it. I'm having to deal with losing the relationship I have with my parents, but also with my siblings as a product of that. Because even my siblings, because they have different experiences from mine, I have to constantly now have to ask myself, do I want to be here and continue experiencing this? Because again, they are right to make their choices, but they have to understand that will inform a lot on how you relate with people. The burden is always where now people start telling you, but they're parents, understand them, forgive them. And I'm like, contrary to what you think, it's not really I have something, the thing we're talking about, it's not really that I have something to forgive them for. It's again, it's the principle, guys. I will have to try seeing your perpetrator every day and tell me how it feels. And I feel like most of the time, and I'm not saying men don't go through violence, I'm just saying most men sometimes don't relate with that because how they look at the world is different, but also their experiences are very different. But like, it's very difficult living in the same house with people who, the more you grow, the more you become, the more you're aware, the more you come to realization. Do you know how hard it is to be in a therapy session to realize your parent is an abuser? It's very difficult. That thing, literally shifts your world. Your brain chemistry changed. Now you live and you look at the world totally different. And you have to work on that. Not only have you just realized this person is your abuser, but now you're realizing for things to be fixed, this conversation has to be had. A lot of people who go to therapy will tell you, you're told with your abuser, either or with your victim, go ask them for forgiveness, or go have a conversation with them, or write a note to them and burn it if you don't have access to them. Under whatever circumstances, sometimes it's because of death, sometimes it's because they no longer allow you near them, or you no longer allow them near you. Find a way, but there has to be that reconciling. So, and the reconciling requires both parties, in which case that's why you have to write a note and burn it, assuming this paper is that other person. But there has to be willingness to meet somewhere. It's how our parents are never so willing to meet us somewhere, and they will constantly say we grew up in a different time, we knew things differently. Fair enough. I'm not saying I want now to grow in your time. I'm saying now don't be stuck there, because times are changing, things are changing. Do better. You might not be perfect. The concept is not to be perfect. I am not. You will not be. But like, meet me somewhere. It can't be sasa mimi bado afu firstborn watasema walikuwa na burden. Another thing I wanted to say, lastborns do a lot of parenting children. I mean parenting their parents.
Yeah.
That's
Taking care of their parents. Kila kitu ikifanyika kwa nyumba. My mom's favorite child is my brother that I follow. If you ask me, I'm convinced I'm a mistake child, because my brain chemistry can't comprehend how we, even visibly, in 2014 is the first time, 2013 is the first time I asked my mom, why don't you ever tell me you love me when I tell you I love you? I didn't realize that. I had this epiphany and it was shocking. My mom and my brother are all lovey-lovey with each other. I love you, my son, and all that kind of stuff. But I never, hata tukiongea kwa simu, hi mom, how you doing? Even if it's on my birthday, she will still call. Most of the time she's always the first one, because immediately a minute past midnight she's there on the call calling. I wish you all the best and all that kind of stuff. Thanks mom, I love you. She would never in person anywhere. And I remember asking her, there's so many things I can say about the relationship you have with my brother, but I'm not mad at it. I just wish I had that too with you.
So when your brother tells your mom, I love you, she
gets I love you back very quickly. When my brother has a migraine, not even a headache, just a migraine, the lastborn, go cook for your brother, he's not feeling well. Meanwhile, I've been battling a flu from hell the last 2-3 days.
But that could also play into, it might not be exactly the dynamic of the placement of the child. That could come in the dynamic of favorite children.
Yeah, that's why I said it's a thing about my brother being my mother's favorite child. Because I asked her, there are many things. I literally don't mind doing anything for my siblings or for you. I hate that it's an automatic assumption for you people. I will do it. I'm the lastborn. I will do it. That's the part that I don't like. Nobody cares to ask. Please make something for your brother. He's not feeling well. Everyone is like, nobody cares to check in with me and how I'm feeling, even just randomly. Any day, sadness is a thing. I could be sad on that day, that's why I don't feel like I need to go do that. But also nobody
could be because you're a girl.
Yes, nobody could. Again, that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of these things, like, they're intertwined, but it's hard to understand. And I remember when I asked my mom that, the excuse she gave, when my brother was younger, he was a sickly child. And I was like, okay, fine. So my brother was sickly, but now he's an adult. He's not a sickly child. He gets headaches like everyone. He gets migraines. He gets a cold like everyone does. So I'm not understanding how it went from your child being a sickly child to a child that makes to one of your children that makes me question whether you actually love me as your child. Because I'm wondering, why must I do so much to make you even comfortable with telling me you love me? And this I'm not questioning because your child was sickly. I'm just questioning because I hear you telling your child you love. I hear you telling my other siblings you love them. But you never tell me you love me back. And I want to establish what that will mean. I think like that, regardless of whether you're my mother, you'll still have to meet me somewhere. You'll still have to make it normal to tell me you love me. And it shouldn't, and I know many people like saying, oh, the actions your parents do for you. Parents do actions for everyone. That's the thing. My parent, for example, my parent buys me a gift. My parent buys my siblings a gift too. But she buys them gifts and she tells them she loves them. She buys me a gift, but she never tells me she loves me. It almost feels like a chore to be her child. It almost feels like a chore to parent me. And why? It's because I have all these examples of siblings, so I'm asking myself, is it a me thing? Again, we come back to now, am I the problem? Can I talk? Can I ask? Because then I'm made to feel like, yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Now that I feel your story. I feel that you have to go through it almost every single time. But my question is, when you get to a point you realize there's nowhere we are meeting in between what you do.
And that's what I'm saying, my relationship has been tampered with completely. I don't have an existing relationship with my parents and then with my siblings. Because for some interesting reason, and again, I also don't believe in, again, if you want to have children, buckle up and be a parent. I don't believe in the concept of having a favorite child. I do believe in today feeling like you like Olive better because Olive sent you 5,000 in Mpesa, but in the grand scheme of things, all your children should be your favorite children. You should love your children, not necessarily equally, but the same. You should love them the same. The reason I'm saying not equally is because children, but just generally in the dynamic of parents and children receive love differently. So be aware of that, but love your children the same. I want to be loved like this, love me the same, the way my other sibling wants to be loved, differently but the same. So I feel like it should be like that. But now, in my situation, my siblings were forced into some sort of a marathon to pick which side are they picking. Because I have all these experiences that they don't relate with. But it's not their fault that they don't relate with these experiences. But my parents know better and can do better. But they're not doing better. And it's easy to unchoose me. I'm literally the last born. Sisi wapatiangi chochote, which is funny because now wapatianga. It's weird. I lived with my brother and my sister. My brother is older than me. My fourth born, fifth born, and then me. We lived together. My brother worked. My brother never paid rent in that house. I paid rent with my sister. I paid for growth. Like, the assumption is we don't give anything, but the reality is we literally labor for everyone and then we parent our parents, because whenever our parents can't take care of themselves in whatever capacity, we have to chime in and take care of our parents. My mom was sick at some point. I was little. I was, I think, 4, and we were in shags, and she normally had ear problems, and sometimes it would get so bad. You see, like the eardrum, that's what we are told is the eardrum, the white thing you see in there, it would panda hadi ukujua. I don't know what thing it is. Sometimes I'm scared to Google because I don't want to know what it is. And it was in the middle of the night, but this unique time, because she always had treatment for it, some drops and all that. But this time that was happening and she was foaming in the mouth. And I was with my brother in the house. And in our shags home, kwa compound yetu, my grandpa's house is there. My grandpa had so many children, but not all of them built up. Also, like my father's house was there. And my father is those wazees wa kijiji. And if you are a true millennial, you know kitambo, ushago, watu wakitaka kuitwa pamoja, they have to blow a whistle and call people. It was never a door-to-door thing. You blow a whistle and say, tunaitwa kwa mjia kina Olive, and then we all go there.
Well, it still happens, actually.
Yeah, I don't know, because it's been a while. But now someone had to leave the house at around 2 p.m. to go to my grandpa's house to tell him to call people to come carry my mom to the hospital, because clearly she's doing badly. She's foaming. I'm a child. I'm like literally, even if I was to have skills, I'm a child, guys. Tell me why my brother, who was 9 at this point, I tell him, so you go call Babu, I'll take care of mom while you go call Babu. My brother refused. I had to brave it. Usiku nitoke and ended kuita Babu. I called Babu. Babu did the thing. These people ended up coming at around almost 6, a few minutes to 6, to take my mom to hospital. when we ask my brother later, he's asked by my older siblings why he didn't do anything, he didn't move from my mom's side. Like, I'm scared to move in case my mom dies. And I'm like, but you're staying and then she'll die in your arms. If the real fear is your mom dying, why are you not doing anything to prevent that from happening? And it was interesting for me to experience that. But now that I'm grown, I'm looking and I'm like, at what point did parents figure out a way to tailor-make care for us, but also how they teach us things, so that we all have ability for responsibility when need be and all that kind of stuff. Because I was just a child, I didn't need to have gone through all that experience. After unaanza kwambia you did well, but I'm like, I didn't want to do that, guys. I hate that I went through all that stress. I didn't want to do that. But when do we have? So like the whole point of, yes, relationships end up getting lost because there's so much to unpack. And when you start going to therapy, which for me I started with therapy because I held on for so long, and then when I started going to therapy is when, and I'm lucky I have a good therapist, and I'm not saying she's good because she told me what I wanted to hear. I'm saying she's good because she challenged me and she made me understand that this is a journey and it will be very complicated. And until today, I go to therapy because it's not an easy thing, but to remind myself, because I normally tell people, I may have also played a role in saying I no longer want to deal with this, so I locked them out. But I'm also aware when a time comes, and if a time comes and they want to have a conversation, I have also some boundaries that I've set. I've constantly actually set them, that if you want to have a conversation, let's sit and talk. But also, if you're not ready to meet me somewhere, I don't think I'm ready to have the conversation, because I'm no longer at a place where I want to compromise. I swear, it sounds like a drill, but it's peaceful. It's sad and peaceful all at once. The sadness is there, but the peace overrides the sadness most of the time. Because I'm at peace, man. Like I can just live, I can be, and I probably don't have to remember my last one all the time because I'm reminded all the time when I'm in that environment. Yeah.
Just to build up on whatever you're saying, and it also plays out to the point that Brian mentioned about ignorance. When it comes to parents, sometimes if you're in a toxic relationship with your parents, or rather your parents are toxic, I like to remind people that even in your situations where you were not believed, it's not that they did not believe you. Sometimes I tend to think they chose the option that was safer for them, for their reputation. And in that case, you have to realize that this person has chosen themselves over me. They've chosen my parent over, if it's a sibling and you're fighting for whether they want to believe their parents or you, this sibling has chosen your parent over you. So even you, when you're making your decisions, you need to realize a choice was made by them. So me, why am I choosing someone who's not refused to choose?
Who has refused to choose me, yes.
Umpendae, simpendae, Otile Brown.
Anayenipenda simpendi, anayenitaka sijui nini, so much complicatedness.
Yeah, so that was a point I wanted to put across. Sometimes parents are not exactly ignorant, they just choose the choice that's
safe for them.
Yeah.
And in that regard, you also have a right to choose what's safe for you. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If your world peace is more important than your child's peace,
I know, right?
Buckle up for parenting parents. Come on now.
I'll read through.
I'll contact some
I wanted to ask you, was there at any point where you were a problematic child?
Children are meant to be problematic.
Even if I'm problematic.
There is that kind of problematic which they like, because me, I was a very problematic kid. But I used to paint myself as the victim every day.
I feel like averagely children, especially if you're at a certain age, being problematic is part of the package, right?
Yeah.
And the concept of it isn't sitting and saying, because there are times I lashed out. There are times when I was meant to stay with my sister, whose husband defiled me. For those 3 months, I cooked to Galimbichi deliberately. So I could be called a problem child.
You get rebellious.
I know how, my friends that are watching this can tell you, I love how to cook and I know how to cook. And all these skills I wasn't taught, I picked because I'm a lastborn. Expectation to do a lot of things. So I know how to cook very well. But this particular time, Galimbichi intentionally. The child in me couldn't speak about what was happening, but the child in me was aware what was happening was wrong. I went to boarding school to run away from home and people. Literally, my boarding school was an escape plan.
I want to hear Brian's thought
Have you
process?
ever talked to your mom about
Yes,
that?
I have. So that's the hardest part. Up to the time I was even sent away from home again, and that is a different conversation.
Listen
Olive
to the
knows.
other podcast.
Yeah, Olive knows. You can listen to the other podcast, but also probably future discussions will bring topics that will shed more light to that. But the time everything was coming full circle and I was being sent away from home, it was a full circle of holding people accountable. It was a full circle of actually, I remember my therapist, how she put it is, sometimes you think, because I started therapy immediately after the fact, and sometimes you think something has been broken now, but therapy helped me see things have been broken a long time ago. It was like a string. You are holding on, but it's thinning and thinning and thinning.
But you know the
So
thing-
by the time the last thing happens that like everything goes into shambles, it will be significant because it seems big and impossible to deal with. But the reality is that that thing has been broken for so long. Now to trace back all these things that I'm speaking about here, different parts of my journey with my parents, is not things that 5-6 years ago I could sit and place them as something. I just thought all kids have these experiences. Your parents don't believe you for shit. Your parents, as a last born, you deal with all this. Exactly. And then now when you start now going back, and that's why therapy is very difficult but important. It helps you undo a lot of self-guilt and self-blame and all these things that I have had to burden. Because in retrospect, see, the boys fight and get at each other, and it's easy for your parent to see you as a problematic child. I was also a child. I was problematic. I'd also go play and breach curfew and come late. I've run away from, I'm a child who has run away from home. The year that I didn't go to Form 1, it was so bad. My dad was doing so many weirdest things that I was staying with him. I ran away from home, and the 6 months that I was not at home, I was not looked for.
No, you know.
Not even my
What do you
mom.
mean by problematic? Because I feel like
Yeah.
the thought process you have,
Yeah.
you're not done expressing it.
You know, there's given me a lot of points, but you derailed my thinking. Lakini, I think, first of all, therapy, kwanza, I feel like therapists, they only show you or tell you where your trauma came from. They don't really give you the solution.
They don't. Even for me, I'm not given. The solution is self. And that's what I'm telling you, even the cutting off of, they're just deciding, I'm done with this and I don't have to deal with something if no one is meeting me somewhere. That's the thing I arrive at myself. Your therapist will never tell you, cut off your family. In fact, your therapist will ask you, do you want a relationship with your family? We can work how that looks like. When do you want it? Now or later? Or like, the therapist will only ask you questions that will help you come to ways in which you can deal with everything that you're dealing with. But the therapist has no answers. Kwani therapist ni Mungu anajua kufix hizi vitu.
Lakini,
Hata Mungu afixingi vitu
what I
vingi
think
kwa
about
sana.
moms, moms make most of their decisions based on emotion. So, when you
dads.
show them that you are a doer, you get things done, lakini umuonyeshi the bigger side of your emotion. She'll rule that you are not feeling the emotion.
But
she's
I'm a very
feeling
emotional
towards you.
child, which is also another thing.
As much as she wants.
Part of the trauma was for 17 years, and the reason I'm saying 17 is because I'm referring to the sexual violence aspect of it. Part of the trauma was violence happened, I communicated about it immediately. I was made to believe it was my fault because the first time it was, the family has to reconcile, this can't go out, it will ruin the family's name and all that kind of stuff. Now you're made to feel like if you speak, you're a problem. So for 17 years, it took away my power to speak. So it's not because I'm not an emotional child. If I wasn't an emotional child, I wouldn't have spoken about it when it happened. And now that I'm working towards healing, I'm much more emotional, I'm more outspoken. I'm the kind of a person who just doesn't sit with uncomfortability and be like, I'm uncomfortable, I'm okay. In all aspects of my life, in relationships, something is not working, I sit with you and I tell you, if you're willing to meet me somewhere, meet me. If you're not willing, it's been real, I'm out. Because I don't have to also sit there. And this could also easily be a trauma response, but also trauma responses are not a bad thing. It's a wall, you're allowed to put up a wall to protect yourself. Literally, the whole real estate industry
Might you
is
be
founded on people renting houses and staying behind walls. So
It's the body trying to
yes,
protect
to
you.
shield
Yeah.
myself from all that, and that's okay. It's just my responsibility again through therapy to understand when am I doing it to harm myself or harm other people, or when am I doing it to really protect myself from harm. Yeah.
But
Can
are
I
you- are
ask
you-
a personal question to Brian?
Ask. Oh.
Might you happen to be your mom's favorite child?
Possibly.
Oh, then
He's comparing his relationship with his
yeah,
mom.
his
Wow.
perspective is very
Yeah.
privileged.
Yeah.
He said he did.
He's the last one everyone
From
talks
what I'm
about.
hearing
Yeah.
here, it's completely different from my
yeah.
experience
And-
with my mom.
And that's fair, and that's why I said at the beginning, I hope by the time we're done with the episode, the things they said Lastborns get as being Lastborns, the privileges and all the 9 yard, I hope everyone figures out how to actually give Lastborns that. In rare cases, you find people like you had all that. So you're looking at me, you're like, hey, Lastborn, where is that? And yes.
You also struggle to when you're enjoying privilege. It's very difficult to see
Another person's perspective,
It's like
yes.
waking up a man or waking up white. You
Yeah.
don't wake up and tell yourself every day, "Okay, I've woken up, I'm a man. I've woken up, I'm a man."
You actually
You wake up,
that you don't
you
live
shower,
and think I'm
and
a man.
Yeah.
I'm a white
You
person.
don't realize that you
But women
They're
have
not
to
walking
think about that all the time because of where you're going, what you're wearing, who you're interacting with, who are you gonna marry? Because if they don't kill you outside, they'll kill you at home. Like you have to worry about all these things,
Yeah.
and it will change your perspective about the world because the reality is those things are happening. They sound ridiculous, but our parents are doing them.
Like in the part where they tell you to cook for your bros, nini, that's. You need
But
to
I
mind
told
that.
you, that's why I told you, I don't think the problem is cooking for my brother. I don't think the problem is the aspect of doing things to care for people. The problem is the expectation that I will do it because I'm a lastborn.
Every time.
Every time, every day, everywhere, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter the situation.
That she
Yeah.
was asked to cook even when herself she had the sniffles.
I am,
So
I'm not
your
even
illness is
okay,
worse than mine.
but no one checks to find out whether I'm okay to do something. Everyone just expects you're a lastborn, you should be able to do it. That's why I said we do a lot of parenting our parents. Because where our parents can't do, lastborns always do. Because there's an expectation. Someone will, no, a lastborn will do it. Yani mtoto,
Ndo
ukitumwa
umebaki
unafaa
kwa boma.
kusikiza. Yeah, ukitumwa
I
unafaa kusikiza.
relate there because most of the things at home, my parents expect me to put in order because when my 2 brothers come home, I'm supposed to organize everything. From cooking, shopping, everything. I do all that. Like you know, I'm a lastborn, but I identify as a slave when you are home. Like
And B is saying you can refuse.
And Mimi
Yeah,
is saying, I have no reason to romanticize labor. I want to also have the privilege of choosing when I want to do something like everyone is choosing.
Yeah.
And if they say no, again, like you said, well, am I a problematic child? A lastborn saying no is always considered being a problematic child. But other children, when they say no, it's not. So in retrospect, it's not really being a problematic child. It's really just being a child. Some people can say no to some things. Yes, I can say no to some things, and that's okay.
No,
I shouldn't.
no, ours is problematic. Us when we say no, it's problematic. For you, when you say no,
Yeah.
we look at it as
You're just being a last.
yeah, like you're being sad, like you're
that
being
meme
privileged.
that was going around ati lastborn akiambiwa aoshe vyombo. And nikaona hiyo meme I'm like okay.
Let me read through I think we even done with time. Let me read through the rest. But I think we've covered mostly. Someone says, it's not easy when the one you follow is loved more. You feel like an intruder. Asante sana kwa kutumalizia points zote. All unfulfilled expectations of the first and second child automatically falls on the last born. Guys, poleni.
Thank you for that apology. It means a lot.
But you started the podcast with privilege. Then we
Na unatuambia pole.
My perspective was flawed. I'm sorry.
You remember I told you I'm here to show you we are just human beings.
We're all just human beings, yeah. Someone else said, no, I was born when my parents were tired of taking care of kids, so I survive on my own.
Yeah, let them go.
That's another thing.
It has
And I
been
think
said.
that's what people imagine.
Yeah.
That's where our privilege
Comes from.
That's
Actually, they
where
don't.
they say firstborn, lastborns, we are just chilling.
We get away with a lot.
Yeah, they're like, that's where they imagine, because our parents were tired
Yeah.
to parent, so we got seemingly all these bad habits.
Yeah.
That's why they view our. We are viewed as very.
not woke is not the word. Like
You're
No, I'm
confident.
Exactly.
He's
yeah.
also very
Yeah,
confident.
Don't care.
Yeah.
Freestyle. At times it seems like
Honestly, to me, the
confidence.
privilege I felt was you get the parents while they're tired, so you don't get caned. Because
Yeah, that's
growing
what
up,
people imagine.
getting caned was the most.
But then the real conversation
But that's
isn't
what people
us
imagine.
getting privilege, and that's why pia my firstborn sasa tunawa call out. Mnakuanga na bitterness nyingi kuhusu sisi, lakini sisi tunaketi hapa tunawaambia mukuwe na nuances looking at your experiences.
Yes.
The problem isn't that we want care, because probably we needed parents to be more available and around to protect us from some things.
Yeah.
But also the real conversation is you shouldn't have been getting canned. Na sasa
yeah,
mko
true.
bitter na sisi, lakini your parents shouldn't have been caning you. Lakini
problem
parents
is
wetu
the
hawatuken, lakini nyinyi sasa mnatuken, mnaturambanga kuturamba, mnatutandika.
Poleni, mbona mnabehave?
Parents hatuchapi lakini nyinyi mnatuchapa, so where is the
Yeah.
difference? Like
Because also
difference iko wapi?
like even in the firstborn
Yeah.
episode, you can see that it gets to a point parents actually transfer parenting to the
To-
firstborn.
yeah.
And sometimes in some families it's as extreme as the firstborn can punish the rest of the siblings, which is wild to me. But anyway. Yes.
I actually think maybe I would have appreciated growing up with that kind of sibling thing. Because when I ended up trying to live with my siblings, it was impossible. It was impossible. Now they're telling me to do stuff, now we are fighting. We are fighting as adults. Me, I don't fight with people.
Yeah.
So it comes down as you being harsh on me, and I'm not talking about it, just being a sibling. Just being a responsible older person.
Yeah. Dynamics. Anyway, we'll talk about the parting shots. It is so true. I'm a firstborn. Firstborns, you had to come here and say it. Okay. It is so true. I'm a firstborn, and my little brother is the lastborn. And damn, he got everything. I never did, and and still does. So I guess the lastborn brother gets. That's a perspective from a firstborn. So I'm going to not consider it.
Sit with your lastborn sibling after watching this episode and ask them. Yes, the assumptions are crazy. Yeah.
Most of them are assumptions.
Yeah.
They are.
We got everything.
Yeah.
It's like I was a child. Children get sweet.
Sweet.
you want to get a sweet in class 8. Okay, if you wanted,
Yeah.
fine, it's not bad.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like which is like a human trait.
We always imagine
The other person is getting it. Well,
We assume the green grass is greener on the
yeah,
other
on that
side.
side. Even
Yeah.
For me,
Roman.
it was money. I never got access to money, to my parents' money like that. And then I saw my last-born sister. She's leaving the house. First of all, you're going to a party. Wow. She's like, Mom, I'm going to a party. And then she's like, do you have emergency money? Msichana atembei hivyo, here is some money. I'm like, what the hell? And then right now in our adulthood, you can actually see that I'm a bit more cautious with money. I tend to calculate everything.
Yeah.
And her, she's just out here like, oh, today we go
Living the
shopping.
life.
Oh, today we go eat.
Living the life,
So
yeah.
I think that dynamic is what probably for me I considered a privilege, maybe.
I was to say the same because
Yeah.
But maybe also it's times have changed.
Yeah.
At times had not changed. I wasn't at home. Times had not changed.
Times were the same.
All my parents retired. They should have been pinching pennies there.
I have a question on that. Now that us lastborns we get when our parents are died, does us being privileged, as we've been describing here,
Yeah.
a way of compensating for the fact that they can't be there all the time and stuff like that?
I really don't know. I can't tell. I just know from my perspective, I just know my parents got more tired and more tired. Like I just know, I know that the caning got less, the quarreling got less.
Yeah.
You can just tell they are growing old.
Yeah.
So we are looking at it in the sense that I'd have wanted to be quarreled less. I'd have wanted to be caned less. So that's maybe what we're looking at as privilege. But again, this conversation shows the privilege is not so privileging.
But I wouldn't say they are tired. I would say that maybe they expect that we see how they have raised our older siblings, because they did work on them, of course. So they expect us to follow the older siblings. Like, this was the way I raised them. Follow the script. For example,
My parting shot is getting fatter and fatter. Let's go.
There was that time. Watch and learn. There was a script here. There was a time I was in high school, Form 4.
Yeah.
I got suspended when I was in Form 4. That day, I realized my parents were actually really tired. Because he walked on me.
They did stuff to you, you're like, hey.
I was shocked. I thought he loved me, but I don't think they are tired. It's just that follow the script and you'll be okay.
For me, the concept here is the assumption that lastborns get everything. I like asking kids who are older and lastborn and middle children, do you think you can take everything? Because people don't understand the everything that lastborn said.
That's true.
People always just see the good things. And also, fair enough, the brain of a human being is built like that. It gets off easily on nice things. So it's easy to see that. And in a world that really suppresses the voice of people who are going through any sort of hardship, not necessarily just violence, just hardship in general. People have cultures, norms, have shaped the ability or the inability of people to handle negative, bad stuff. So people are like, let's get over this quickly. And some of the ways in which people get over these things quickly is not paying attention to them, not validating the person who's going through the experience and all that kind of stuff. So the question will always be, okay, lastborns get everything.
Yeah.
If you are given everything right now, you take it. Because the everything has the ugly side to it as well.
And sometimes it's just comparison, what we do in life generally. You just feel like, my life would have been easier if I were lastborn. But then you realize, if you were in that position, maybe you wouldn't have.
The everything can also be the bare minimums of our time.
Yes.
It can be what, if it was your time, you would have gotten it. But since times have
You
changed,
grew up a different time,
Yeah.
you wouldn't, there's no possible. It's like so our family has like good ranges. My older siblings are born 70s, late 70s, yes. I have a 1978, thereabout, just before you get into the 80s.
You're an old family. Your parents are older, you'd consider.
I mean, my mom is like, how old? Like, she started giving birth when she was really young. That could also be the concept of it.
Okay.
Because my mom would now be 66.
Oh, that's young.
Yeah, so it's not like so.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you think about it, and that's why I'm saying, like in alianza kuzaa watoto mapema
Probably
sana.
16, yeah.
Now, because of all those things, it's like now if you sit a Gen Z and a millennial in the same room, and a millennial is complaining, I never had a phone at 18. There were no phones for 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
Now there are many types of phones, but also phones then, you remember the one with aerial would cost so much money. You'd risk going hungry if your family afforded that phone. And then now, yes, and the SIM card itself was very expensive.
I know, the SIM card, come as squeeze it, they're being dished out.
Angalia Gen Z venye anatuangalia, like, what are you talking about?
I think a SIM card was like 500 or
I know, but now you have 2K, you can get a second-hand phone and go about your life. So, like, again, like I said, can you handle everything? To be honest, in that age, would you have gotten everything? Because if your parent could have bought your phone then, Brent could have beaten the shit out of you if you did something wrong with that phone, because that phone was hella expensive.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yes, so a lot of things are like, yes, we agree, there are nuances to it. Our struggle is, even us, we see the nuances for all the siblings. They don't see our nuances. See, tunakwanga tuko blanket, yeah, you're a last born, shut up.
Last born, yeah.
It's just a human trait to always not look
Inward.
Not look within. Yeah.
Our Jama,
You always take
our
it.
say, like
It's always someone else.
Yeah.
people.
All right. Someone else said, as a last born, you're born with a gag order. I don't know what gag is.
Not to speak.
Oh, a
Like
gag.
you're being gagged. Yeah.
With a gag order. Okay. Number 2, you see a lot of trauma. And number 3, aged parents. Number 4, bullying. So you've discussed all of it.
Yeah. The bullying is a real thing. Na sio ile ya shule. Ya siblings yako ni a whole, it's top tier. It's another tier altogether of bullying.
Because every time, like, my last born sister would get into the room, you'd just be like, Kwenda huko, after she's done nothing. It's just like, why are you existing?
Maybe I think there was a time, I still find it strange to death. People who eat avocados with sugar, it's a strange concept. Because I never did. But as a child, that's I mean, we have our strange last one here. It's avocado with sugar.
Avocado, we put respect.
With sugar. We put respect.
Sugar, pepper, salt, anything.
Nah, salt.
Okay, na salt, yes, pepper, yes, sugar. Anywho, we were really, like, I was really young. And then we were in shags. And then, I don't know kama zenye kitu kawaida kuwa na fruit trees but kuwa na miti za avocado. And then they also had avocados different times. Which is why I don't understand when people say kuna season ya avocados. I never saw seasons. I saw trees giving avocados because they felt like yes, so tuko na avocado. And then my older brother had this weird thing ya kuharakisha avocados hivi kama haijaiva. There's that thing for blowing fire. He would take it and gonge. So this strange day, again, I maintain I was a child. And like I've given you the age range of my sibling, it gives you a perspective of, I had older siblings who could have done better. But wakakata avocado, spend, even now to my adult age, I don't use sugar, not because I'm trying to lose weight, not because I'm dieting. It's just not my thing. Nakanga na sukari 1 kg mwaka mzima kwa nyumba. Because if my friends don't use it and I don't use it, nobody can use it. So, yes. And I love avocado, so you can imagine if I ate avocado with sugar would have not rested. But brother kwanza wamekata avocado zilikuwa zimeiva vizuri kwa zile bonda zikaharakisha kuiva. And then they took sugar waka add. Now, if you have many siblings, it's one sibling, it's difficult for your mother to know a spoon of sugar is missing. Because there was many siblings, and I think they picked the wrong can. There's the big can for storing all sugar, and then there's the small can for moving around. Hiyo inaikanga sukari kidogo fikiisha unaongeza ingine. Hiyo ndo walichukua. You could tell there was a difference in the sugar because they all somehow ate avocado with sugar, and there was also milk, maziwa mala. They also did with sugar, which I also don't do with sugar. But when my mom came, and that woman was raged, I don't know for what reason. Scarcity mentality is also a thing I've had to unlearn and heal from as a child who grew up in a home that was made to feel like if you do something it will isha. I'm like, the concept of sugar being in a can is isha ndo mnunuwe ingine. Sio itu niambie tu ikunywe kidogo nikunywe cha yenye si enjoy. I wasn't even a tea person, but yeah. My mom was red. All of us were cared, me included. And my older siblings didn't do anything to protect me. I didn't eat sugar. I was so mad. And then it's like they conspired. So they're quiet, and when I try to say something, they shush me. So like they're conspiring so that I get the punishment with them. Then we were beaten.
You can't speak, snitches get stitches.
Tulitandikwa. And until today I always wonder, like, geez, you all adults couldn't just say, this child didn't eat sugar. Nimepata kitapo na nini. And you think your siblings can't bully you. It's a moment like that, you know, your siblings can literally can watch you baking, and they know what's going on, and they will not say anything. It was so bad.
Apologizing on behalf of kids. First of all, Mujeni apologize. Someone else said, nah, actually, when you have a single mom, it ain't because literally, we have to live life through you. I don't know what she was trying to say. Okay. Nah, actually, when you have a single mom, it ain't because literally
it ain't true. So the prompt
she has to live her life through you. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It becomes Ash.
She lives, so you're an extension of her.
Yeah, and I've had this. It's not an experience I'm speaking from. I'm a lastborn, yes, but from lastborns who have grown up in single parent homes. They've shared experiences about the bitterness of lost relationships from parents and them being made the destination for that. Because if a parent was there but left at some point, now they're single parents, it means all the children didn't get that bitterness because the parent was there, or there was a parent figure there. But now you as a lastborn and she's a single parent, because if you're talking about being a lastborn, an only child, maybe the case could be different, and maybe it could be true or untrue. But now being a lastborn, it means there is evidence of a parent who has been there, then is no longer there. And the bitterness of the parent losing that relationship lands on the lastborn a lot. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was unique. Again, I don't know anything about it, or maybe I do.
I've understood it in the sense that you see, like only kids, how sometimes parents want you to live the dream they didn't.
They never lived.
So they'll groom you to be a doctor if they wanted to be a doctor. The way you dress, the way you present yourself to the world, literally a mini them. And if you do anything that veers off from what they intended, then there's that animosity.
But there's that aspect, and then there's the aspect of a lastborn growing up in a family with other children. Now the grooming, the grooming Yahoo lastborn sasa is the constant nauseating process of them expecting you to be something like any of their children. So si basi hata basi ujaribu kuwe kama nani, kesho si hata ujaribu kuwe kama nani, ni kama turbulence when you're flying.
Or maybe the other siblings didn't live up to.
So now lazima omit something. That's what I'm saying, like there's many aspects to it. There's in the very least become like basi, or in the very least basi become something because your siblings never became something. So it's very turbulent. There's no one thing they want you to become. But also there's so many things that they want you to become, and they don't know the shape of it, but they expect you to figure it out. Yeah.
Maze Polen, there. Someone else said, easy because you have or had what your siblings didn't have, but times 2.
Now what's that?
But wait. Punctuation is a bit difficult. Easy because you have or had what your siblings didn't have, but times 2 difficult because of comparison and expectations. Oh, okay. So it's easy because you got things like phones, but then it's harder because you're being compared. You need to live up to something. Yeah?
Wow.
Ulikuwa na simu class 2. Oh.
I see now maybe she was born.
Yeah, it's not a privilege so much.
When phones are a bit.
I'm a Gen Z, so in perspective it makes sense.
At class 2, even my parents didn't have phones. So
in perspective it makes sense.
But your older siblings will think that. They'll be like, as we didn't have phones, you were in class 2 in 1990. Like, relax.
Yeah, very few Kenyans had phones.
Who had? Even your father.
Even Safaricom was not there to begin with. I know.
Yeah.
Like there was one person in the village or in the estate who had a phone, and that is the one who would okolea everyone.
And you are here, you're giving your last
or
phone.
If you're like within town, there's now the phone booths.
Oh, phone
booths. So you'd go there with your coins.
I feel phone booths should be returned.
Me too.
Like
okay, maybe they would not have any purpose now because there are phones everywhere, so I don't know. what
I
does
just feel
it
like
do?
if I go to town for an errand, I leave my phone at home and then I can reach anyone.
Yeah, maybe that. Or like in clubs so that we don't,
Oh yeah.
we don't carry
Or
our
you call an
phones.
Uber. Since an
Yeah.
Uber has an USSD.
Yeah.
Guys,
That would be fun though. That would be fun though. Yeah, because I remember times when my dad would travel.
Yeah.
I don't know how, for some weird reason, I don't know how they communicated with my mom, but there was like a specific time we would all leave the house, go to our phone booth.
Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like there are other people who have done the same. Now you have to queue,
You have to
and then now
wait.
it's done. Now you're there, and then
Coin.
and then so you first call.
Na bado mwenye unampigia asishi.
And then
No, see, it goes to the call operator who now connects.
wherever they are, and then if now they pick, now you cut so that they call back. Because see, I mean, the dad have the money. Yeah, hakuna reverse. That's all ushika hashu 20 to just akichukua, then you know, oh, ameshika. Then now you wait. And then now you're like 3 families there who have done that. So simu ikipigwa hii ni yetu, hii ni yetu. And then you call, hello? I thought your dad. Nani anaitwa? So funny. I don't know what I'm saying.
Pia tunamwambia there.
Jimmy Kikaji story by the
It's a whole experience.
yeah, like because I was the youngest, so I'd be on my mom's back, and then on my 2
You're
bros.
going to the booth.
Hakuna cha taking the call
Like
private.
7 up, or I think they had agreed evenings at 7.
Yeah.
Expect a call.
Ukisikia millennials na boomers ukisema sexting is a weird thing. There was never room for sexting. Unashika simu mbele ya kila mtu. How will you sex?
I know.
No, also to go is privilege because you had a phone. To go is an app.
Oh, yeah.
Time ya hata mkiwa na house phone inalia kila mtu anangoja simu ndio
yeah. And at times maybe like there's maybe a rule like only your dad can or whoever is older
can pick the call. Kila mtu anasikia.
And then at you're like a guy up here trying to call some chile over there.
What?
No, unasikia tu budaki.
Also, your father will ask you who does he think he is to call my phone that I pay for.
Oh, landlines were guy cover postpaid.
Yeah, and the yellow book.
Or you
Let the fingers do the working.
Remember, even us when because
The yellow pages book.
we got a land, because we
The
got
only
a
part,
landline before, like,
I think it will still also be there because there's still
got a
people who have
certain
home
shop
addresses
by
and everything. So
telephone
yellow pages are for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that was later before prepaid was. I think.
Yeah.
And I think we would buy 1,000 shillings, and that 1,000 would be guarded. My dad and mom would see you and you're trying to make a call.
To who? What's the emergency?
What's the
I think I can understand. You know how much 1,000 shillings was?
then? Because
Yeah,
I
I
think
can
a minute was
imagine.
like 50 or 100. It's not like now at 3 more.
Yeah.
So when you buy a G guarded, a G is nothing.
1 minute.
Yeah, no minutes.
Yeah, unaweka
on net.
airtime ya thao. Hi, how are you? It's been I wanted to tell you two. Buy another one. How to tell the story. Or send a message.
And on top of
Remember
that,
the times messages were
the
10
network was
bob.
not good, so you're like in a corner where you have all figured out.
Yeah.
That's where the network works.
Yeah, acha siku hizi venye kuna free text sijui na nini. Kitambo ilikuwa message ilikuwanga 10 bob. Sasa hii 10 bob si kama uko outside of the country. Kitambo ilikuwa hiyo ni standard. Ukituma tu message moja, usahau tu kitu kwa hiyo message. 10 bob man. So utume tena
Credit, there was no for credit
for 10 bob. No, it wasn't there.
The list was 100.
The list was 100 bob.
Way later.
Because also 50 came way later. It was 500 and above.
Even it was a whole thing.
Yeah. Na scratch card yetu ilikuwa nakujanga na ile papa yenye iko na lazima u break kwa sababu it can't be kwenda kama the SIM card holder.
Has now displayed a lot.
All those things, yes.
They have like the
Like
landline.
in museum they were trying to do it. They finished. They were trying to have sections with all those things.
With
And there's even now
The CBK, I think
they
CBK
now have a section at
museum. So there's the history of money in Kenya.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they have a whole
Alright.
section.
I haven't been to the museums, but
Yeah.
we will. Yes, please. Kwanzaa boomers. I am so ready. Someone said, the last person here on short reply said, lies upon lies.
Lies upon lies.
Period.
Your statement relies upon lies. Yeah.
I'm going to read our 2 emails back to back, and then we're going to take parting shots. Sorry. If something triggers you, let me know. Someone said, good morning. So I'm the only girl in a family of 3, 2 elder brothers. While growing up, my elder bro was my mom's fave. Must be nice.
There's something about moms and boys, dads and girls.
Are you
That
ready,
needs to be
are you ready for that
interrogated.
conversation? Because it's leaning towards romance. Higher. Higher to date.
And the list one was 250.
All right, okay. To date, but no, he is. That's the favorite. It was so evident. I'd maybe play around in school and my uniform iraruke. I'd be sent to my dad, nikalete pesa ya kushona. Mind you, my mom was a tailor by then.
But that's funny.
We're not laughing at you, we're laughing at you.
From my bro getting gifts, sisi tukiwa hapo. You'd think my other bro and I were stepkids. Fast forward to cousins coming to live with us because he was also paying their school fees, nini. Getting essayed by 2 of them. From watching one of them, of the many helps we had masturbate in front of me, I knew how the kitty looked like at a very young age. Seeing the same help trying to touch my second-born bro, let me tell you, Olive, you can psychologically block some things, but you can never recover from them. How my mom treated us differently made me hate my bro and my mom to date. This is only part of the story. There's worse. When all this happened, my dad was mostly at work and didn't realize anything when he came back. If I said ningechapwa, Kwanzaa, my biggest one is at some point I overheard my mom threatening my dad that she will unalive my bro and I. She wanted to set the house on fire. She later tried it when we were all grown, but not on us, but when my dad was sleeping. Thank God my dad woke up and venye alisikia harufu ya mafuta, he fled na back door.
Now that's a whole different topic.
I think your mom is a psychotic.
Yeah, from the
Not even toxic is almost all parents.
Yeah, this one is
That is like a serial killer-ish. It's giving,
Hey.
I'm tired of life, you should be tired with me, we are going.
Like you don't have a life without me.
Yes.
You're going with you.
That's
So,
like
yeah, she says she's the
bad.
last one, but she didn't understand what we mean by privilege because the mom had
See,
a.
that's what we've been saying.
The thing
Yeah.
we've been saying, yeah.
Yeah.
From the moment she said, the mom sent her to take money for.
Oh, and the
Part
people,
of being a tailor.
and the people.
Unajua tu
Yeah.
the parents have a
Yeah.
And I know she highlighted a bit of it. The people who are imposed on you as a lastborn, like her perspective was like living with different people all the time, and then there's a perspective of everyone comes home, but no one checks to see if the people who are coming home are safe
Yeah.
for the
children.
especially lastborn because you are now the
Yeah.
child of the house.
Because mostly
So,
you're the
yes.
child, like,
So a lot of harm happens to you. Like is it his case?
It is a
Is it a guy
heart.
or a?
A heart.
Aha. Esi akisema hapa kazini wake walim sexually abused. Lakini who is checking? Cause akisema ataambia unasema hivyo juu the
Yeah.
cousins are like everyone will come up with stories, but no one will be very keen to see anyone who comes to the house is safe for the children and most especially the last
Even
born
the
of
house help. Can
Yes,
you
even the
imagine?
house help, yeah.
I think, Olive, after an interview with Lastborns, you should also have a podcast with the parents in response to what they said.
There's actually been requests on having the parents on.
Yeah.
I do not know if I have the capacity to host boomers because they can get on your last nerve.
Yeah, wewe uko na
So
trauma zako, so
it is, let me just say
50-50.
it's in the works. I will be happy. I'll even want to know, what is it called? A boomer who's willing to come on a podcast and speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see.
You'll get the cool ones.
The cool ones won't address the problem. It's the toxic ones that we need to come and give their
The toxic
perspective.
ones.
Actually,
Never
toxic
speak.
for anyone, because funny, I've tried to shoot my
Short.
like record pretty much. Record.
Yeah.
And it's hard to convince, especially my mom. Like it's so hard to even to convince. Like we can talk, like if we just talk.
Yeah.
To record, it's like what the hell are you trying to
And
do?
also they feel, a lot of times, I feel like parents feel like coming to say something is exposing. You know, our parents
Yeah.
were very invested in secrecy, in reputation. So coming onto a podcast to address something that would be deemed wrong or something they did wrong, they're not willing to contend with
Yeah.
that.
Also, in the times, like as you're saying, generally you can't put out any negative thing
Yes.
outside there. You see, there like us, we are sort of normalizing to speak about toxicity, like our flaws, where we come short, not necessarily to shame each other, but for the betterment of the society. That's a concept that's very, very
Foreign,
wild
extremely
and foreign to
foreign.
them.
Yeah.
Same thing to technology and all these cameras. Like, just look at your folks. You see the way I can give you my phone. Na utakuwa tu sawa unless upatane mahali kuna password is when you ask a password. Our folks, even the simplest things to make a call. Like my dad now has a new phone. To find a contact.
Yeah.
It's hard
With a large phone.
and you know, and it's like with a large font and all those things. So at times we should also understand these things are so foreign to them. Like to even meet us halfway,
Yeah.
they even don't know where to start. Like
Actually, it's funny you're
What?
saying that, and it's just this morning I saw a TikTok where someone was saying, weaponized incompetence is not only used by our partners; it's also used by our parents. Where
Very true.
they might, you might find things like there's things they can do very easily, like
Yeah.
forward these horror messages from WhatsApp. But then if they were to forward something else, all of a sudden it's very difficult.
it's
Like,
really
why can't
Ama
you
za-
figure that
ama za
out?
Mungu na za Yesu mbio mbio ni maombi chap chap, lakini
Very fast.
eish
Giving you anything that seemingly attacks them.
Yeah.
they
So
would never.
convenience.
There's that side.
Yeah. The last letter here, which I also found very wholesome. She says, "Hi Olive, I am here about the Lastborn episode. Me, I am actually against the narrative that Lastborns are born into privilege. First example, my dad is a lastborn in a very large family, and my grandpa made him in charge of everything, even the title deed, because even before he was the person responsible for everyone. He heads family interventions. He has to take care of any of his older siblings in a family of 8, and he is the person responsible. The same thing happened to me. I am the second and the last born, but I am the mature one. The people pleaser, the reasonable and responsible kid, while my sister is out here being the troublemaker. I literally don't have the energy to borrow money from my parents, and I'm in campus while sis is out here doing the most. In conclusion, I know firstborns are also responsible because my mother is one, and where is all I can say on that."
I feel like there's a thing about parents where they immediately they know which child is responsible.
Yeah.
And which one
And
has the most money?
Yeah, they know that. They love that actually. The one with the money. Hey.
If you're overseeing interventions in your family, you're probably the
But then
money one.
again,
And it's not because they love you and they think you're responsible.
yeah, but
They
then
just
again,
think
this is
you
very
have
different
money.
now.
Yeah.
I believe, and especially if your folks have money. If your folks, not necessarily like they are billionaires, but like they don't need your money.
They have
like,
fuck you money.
yeah, we could say that.
Yeah.
And like, for example, like myself, my folks were civil servants, and I think they were lucky. They were a bit like the better job groups. So even now,
Yeah.
just not putting their assets and all those things, even simple
what's the money?
Wase wameretire wanapangwa pension.
Pension.
The pension still very high.
Yeah.
Like wanakula poa. So your aspect here, looking for the kid that has money, what for? For example, what for?
So that is for the
That's a
parents who
dynamic as
have,
well. I've come to realize.
Yeah.
You'll see that like some families, if the folks are well off, they won't have that issue of
Comfortable, yeah.
of this one has money. Kind of just love their children the way they are. Even the one who doesn't have money for their own reasons,
Yeah.
they'll just be loved, okay. But then again, I'll say, partly from that email, partly of why at times you'll see lastborns. I think in African culture, lastborns are sort of have, people think it's a firstborn, but like taking care of the parents is somehow
A lastborn.
a
Lastborn
lastborn
thing,
duty.
yeah.
Like the firstborn, wao watakuwa like deputy parent. Like wao is like they'll father the society, but this is like Ninani, who can we give an example? It's like the discipline master in a school. Yeye ndio anajuanga makreki wa hiyo shule, ndio anajua ma jobless corner. So that's the work. So automatically you'll find, even me, I'll say for example, like I think I know almost every other asset my folks have, where they are. By virtue of just being one, I was the last one, so I was home most of the time. Maybe I'm closer to, because you're the youngest, you're their baby, so somehow is that car effect, oh baby.
Yeah.
So you'll just be carried around and all those things. So it's not, at times it's just how society works.
Yeah.
It's not at it is
It's
any
not the dynamic.
intentionality to,
Okay.
oh, last born, what are
Yeah.
to favor. No, it's just how dynamics, and just how, at times I think also the problem you're having as well in this generation, which we think we have so much information, is you're also trying to label everything, find a solution, find an explanation as to, oh, ikiatu ni ya red, mbona ikiatu ni ya
Sometimes
red?
just
I'm
let
like,
it be.
designer
Yeah.
alipaka tu rangi ya red. Weka ya red haikubambi. No, I'm not, like, take it lightly, but I'm saying to some extent, you're trying to give everything a label, like, oh, unaona kichwa, that could
ADHD.
be the same way. Yeah, and ukichoka hiyo si kwamba
ADHD
you have
talk
not
never gets
calculated.
old.
Exactly. And even, okay, I won't go to the anxiety part, because it's a thing, but on the flip side of it, it's just a natural instinct of your body to guard you from either harm, and all of a sudden, oh, I think I have an and I'm not saying anyone who has an anxiety, like, that's what I say, but like, you get, also, we are trying to just put a label.
So like I think the perspective is when you're about to speak on stage, you will be nervous and you'll be anxious because it's a new experience.
Yeah.
It shouldn't all together combine to I have
shouldn't be a
anxiety.
label, yeah.
You know,
It's not like
because being anxious is a kawaida thing that happens to someone when he's about to do something that is nerve-wracking and all that kind of stuff. Having anxiety is a clinical diagnosed condition and all that kind of stuff. It takes a lot to arrive at I have anxiety. Yeah, but also I was thinking there's a nuanced perspective too. This is just something I was thinking about here now when he was speaking. The aspect of firstborns or older siblings being deputy parents, and then because lastborns are the ones who have a lot of duty and responsibility to parent and be there for older people. Now you can imagine to parent the parents and then to parent the deputy parents. So while there's an aspect of firstborns knowing how to be on top of things, there's also the aspect of now lastborns having a whole level of knowing how to be on top of things, because firstborns are lost in deputy parenting. Sometimes they forget stuff for themselves. Now this child who is now parenting people has to remind you this and this and this and this. So again, it's very intricate and complicated, and I think the solution to it is, I'll keep on saying, if you're going to be a parent, buckle up and be a parent to all your children separately but the same.
Only have children who you can manage, who you have the capacity to manage mentally. So I would think so. Okay, the last one
children
I
liked, tired of
liked,
parenting.
but the last one is here. The one I said was very wholesome. In response to this, I fully admit that in some aspects, I definitely had it easier than my firstborn sister. I carried better break and lunch to school. Na vitu zingine ndogo ndogo.
Yeah, maybe to have better. Had more money then.
Actually, na vitu zingine ndogo ndogo that I am tempted to say were kind of insignificant, but I am not in the ministry of discrediting the experiences of the elder siblings. But my life was in no way simpler. My parents treated us the same way, except that I am still struggling with trusting my own instinct, opinions, and voice. As a lastborn and the baby of the family, no one ever asked me what my opinion was. I was always told, and in the rare chance that I gathered the courage to voice my opinion, no one listened. So as an adult, I still find that every decision I want to make, I have to run it through my parents and siblings. So, yeah.
That's what you started with.
I just suppose
Yeah?
are you done?
Yes, I'm done, yeah.
It's I feel the whole, she has to go through someone else.
Yeah.
For me now it wasn't, now for me, around me it was not my sibling. Now it was, I had to dictate her.
You grew up faster than you should have.
Yeah, I ended up growing faster than I should have. So most of the decisions, if I had to make them myself, I always doubted. Especially the fact that Nabiwa China Sama is significant. So if at all what I decide if fail, that's it. So I'm not deciding again. So I ended up getting a very
Imposter syndrome?
bad attachment style. So I get either one very close friend or one very best friend, or I get very attached to my boyfriend or something. And then now the decisions that because decisions was going significant. Lazima nipitie mtu. I have to find someone to pass my, however important they are. It's a little crippling though.
Yeah.
So it jeopardized your belief in yourself.
Yeah.
You could be making the best decisions, but because you don't believe in yourself,
I can't even tell the difference between when I'm overthinking or it's intuition. I can't.
I really get it, but I get it from the point of being the person who's consulted, and it gets really exhausting for me to have friends like you. Because a lot of people pass things by me, and it's usually can you just make the decision? Can you just
do your thing?
Sometimes it gets exhausting if you're the kind of person who's known to make your decisions very quickly and very,
If we are going to eat, you'll make a decision for us and where to eat. I'm not good at deciding where to eat.
Oh, very fast. You just tell me what you're craving or what you feel like eating, and I will get you.
That's the problem. I'm also not a foodie, so I don't operate like a normal human being.
I need you to give me something. What's your budget?
Okay.
Full stop.
Budget I'll give. Budget I'll give.
As easy as that.
And then I go off of, if you will eat. I mean, I love cheese, yes.
Yeah.
But spendy food, nile to tansavia pasta, which pasta is a favorite thing ikiwa na cheese. But I go tu mara mbili. So I don't know how to I don't experience. I have a food craving. I want to have the experience of going out with you. So I operate on the person deciding. So I go off on what they're saying. Ucheni una order, how much is it? Can you finish alone or we eat together?
Yeah.
It's not even it says lipa ama nini yo si shida. Shida ni it's crippling to make decisions about food for me.
I get,
And I can cook. I can decide very well what to cook.
Yeah.
Is it something that I want to eat? Probably not. I just knew today I wanted to cook and this is what I'm cooking. That's it. The decision was not informed by what I want to eat. It was informed by the need to cook because I love cooking.
In my defense is that there's things like that, but now there's very, very serious things you feel like you need to take someone through this. Maybe you're deciding, okay, so my career is not working out for me. So people talk to about this.
Yeah. I get it. I really do. I just never thought it's a placement thing. Only when I saw the responses from Lastborns is when I realized, the indecisiveness or the lack of confidence in your decisions, or the people who always consult. Actually, I think I've lost some responses. There's someone who said they've even found themselves in careers where they can't be the boss. They prefer to be the person who's told what to do. So your job is this, and this is your JD. So they can't be in careers where you're the one who innovates, you're the one who figures out the strategy.
Their career will have a ceiling.
Yeah.
This is the farthest.
Yes.
But also relationships. The people who only can be guided in relationships.
Yeah.
They can never, even when it's, again, like she was saying, it can be very crippling because some things you don't need someone to guide you. You actually need to stand on business and make your own decisions. Lakini, because you don't know how to trust your decision. And it's such a flex, by the way. I tell people, the life I live now is a whole flex.
Yeah.
There's so many things that I couldn't do as a lastborn with so much trauma. And now the things that I can do, the way I look at myself, the way I make my decisions, the way I trust my decisions, the way I believe in the things that I do and all that kind of stuff. It's a whole flex because you go through life waiting to be told do, go, nini. And it's not because you can't make decisions. You can. You were just taught not to trust your process because it will never be good enough. And so you constantly it's a very dilapidating anxiety because you constantly making good decisions, but you only learn the good decisions after the fact. You don't learn the good when you need to make them. Later on, when you see someone doing the same thing you're doing, it's like, that was a good decision, but I didn't. I didn't.
Then mix that with people pleasing gets worse.
Wow.
Are all lastborns people pleasers?
No, that's across the family.
There's most of them. There's a couple of things we've spoken about that come out as privilege. If the way your siblings grew up, your parents didn't have money and then money came and all that kind of stuff. So a lastborn would not be a people pleaser because then they experienced a different version of the parenting, but also of life and all that kind of stuff. But most lastborns, even those who are not people pleasers, they had to heal. They had to work on not people pleasing. But it's very easy, like it's almost an automatic for a lastborn to be a people pleaser.
And I don't know.
I wonder, but I'm actually surprised by lastborns being people pleasers because when I thought of lastborns having privilege, I thought to myself, all the lastborns I know, every single lastborn, and B was an affirmation to that. Every single lastborn I know is very confident. They speak their mind very confidently. And I was like, that's not a privilege a middle child has. We were always silenced. And so to me, I thought it's because lastborns were let to be. And so it was easy for almost them to express themselves, to be who they want to be. For me, I was just like, I couldn't even dare ever dream, imagine telling my parents, I want to be a basketballer. But I feel like by the time lastborns were coming through, I got to like, Mommy, I want to be an influencer. Like, okay, you will see what you'll do when you get there. I've always thought lastborns are confident.
Like, now you see where it comes from. It's a journey of like, but
and
also
I realized for some it was to fight to be seen, so they had to be outspoken. And it was not so much a privilege per se.
And also terrible parenting styles. So you'll find most of the time the reason you didn't speak is because parents threaten kids a lot. So it's not because you couldn't speak, it's because kwa niambia mamangu nitathreatenia from here sijui to which part of the world. So a lot of then all the kids, again, like I said, we are all experiencing the same things. Just because of the different positions we were born in, we think another person is having it better. But we are all going through the same experiences. Sasa lastborns wanakaa kama outspoken because they've had to work through a lot. Like literally, I never had a voice. And then you had a voice, but you were threatened so much, so you were like, we are not speaking, we are not saying anything. And then the firstborn, the only time they exercise their voice is when they're being deputy parents. Like, do this. Like, nikifika ni voice ya kusema, I want this. Haezi. So, lastborn and parent.
True.
I don't know
so,
about all lastborns. response. I just know as a person who had to adapt to every environment, I had to please you in a way. It's like you
True. Yeah.
Because mnashinda mkinitoa toa mnanipeleka kila mahali, sitaki nishinda nikitolewa pia.
I don't even, no one talks to me, no one tells me ni hapo.
You don't know the rules.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So people expect to take care of me, expect the society to have already taken care of me. It's
Lakini mimi I attribute most of my ability to relate with any generation to my elder bros, because most of the time I interacted with their peers.
Like you become, yeah.
So those interacting with those people gave me new ideas, new sort of speaking to people. So I can relate to your friends. I can relate to my friends. I can relate to the younger generation.
Because today you could find me with a 50-year-old.
Yeah, and the conversation is so
and even very weird stories.
Yeah.
Like
I love our generation. I feel like it was a transitional one between millennials and Gen Z.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, our akipiga story, I relate. When the other ones akipiga story, I relate.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
stories are Gen Z.
I get.
like any
I
stories
don't
are
know
Gen
that
Z,
she's going to die,
mingi ni za
but
jaba.
with that, whatever you guys have said, do you feel like
tunafanyia Gen Z venye tunafanyonga kama Lastborn.
Yes.
Unawaambia kwa nini stories zao ni za jaba? Acha kuambia stories zao ni za jaba. Sisi tumeamua hivyo our whole life. Then we go ahead and tell this Lastborn Gen Z. What must we be? Nani yeye ni Lastborn tena ni Gen Z. Ambiwa yeye ni jaba kukua Lastborn, yeye ni jaba kukua Gen Z. What is not jaba about
No,
my life?
I feel like the real problem, the real societal problems existed during our generation.
No.
We don't do that.
Yeah, because everyone will say the same thing.
But anyway,
you guys, you did not go through this.
That's story for another day.
It is.
And I think it circles back to what we are saying.
Yeah.
Every human being thinks the other human being
Is
is having it better
Yes.
than themselves.
No. Although me, I always know that hakuna mtu, you never say he has smaller problems than you. All problems are the same.
No,
Problems are
nobody
problems.
thinks like that.
Yeah.
Like me nitakucheki hivi, buda umepiga puma.
We shouldn't even be comparing problems to begin with.
Yeah, and then I'm just like, and maybe that's the only jacket you have, for example.
Yeah.
But since it's like,
Or maybe you saved for it for 3 years.
Yeah,
Na unafikiria tu nimevaa kiatu ya 10k.
manze.
Like, babe, I saved for this shoe for 3 years ndo nikaiafford.
Exactly.
Wewe unafikiria ni
And then
privilege.
you just sitting there like, hey, this guy is balling. Hey, he has it.
Yes.
Now,
Like I struggled to understand when I used to see this Magunga guy write his blogs, and he was like, I didn't have any money, I had to put petrol worth 200 bob. And I'm like, you have a car. How are you, bro? Like, I couldn't reconcile those two things.
But now that you have a car, do you understand?
My.
I know.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
like,
like,
una make decision, do I really need to go with it?
Yeah.
Una mati ya chwana.
you remember the part where I was saying it's peaceful. I think those are some of the things I've learned over time.
Yeah.
We spend so much time worrying, wanting to compare our experiences to other people. We forget, instead of comparing, why don't I sit with her and learn about her experience?
Thank you.
And then when I hear about it, why must I begin saying, I had it worse, you had it better? Nobody had it worse or better, because everyone has different capacity to handle any kind, especially of traumatic experiences. So something could have been very little according to me, but they didn't have the capacity to deal with it, so it beat them down completely. But I'm here telling them theirs is better, mine is worse.
Yeah.
But maybe I have a better bandwidth of dealing. I mean, after all this trauma, I definitely have a better bandwidth. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna sit and deal with the shit. But when shit happens, I have the sense of being there, done that, seen it all. I know I can survive this one too. You know, mtu mwenye ana experience for the first time. Hana hiyo, so kisha kumwambia things will be better tomorrow, falsehood, hope.
And it might
Things will
not
be better tomorrow. It might not be.
Yeah.
The truth is, it will never be better, probably, because you don't know, I don't know, nobody knows.
Yeah.
So you can just be here for the person without creating this false hope na tukiamka kesho asubuhi vitu zitakuwa poa, alafu afukuzwe mwambie si you told me things would be okay na nimefukuzwa sina rent.
That's the storm before the calm.
I don't know who created all these terminologies, but the people who are wilding with all these things. Yeah.
When you see you're struggling, that's the devil attacking you, because God has placed a blessing for you that is beyond your imagination.
Prepared in you.
I grew up in the church. I don't even get triggered. But we've come to the end of a beautiful episode, I believe.
Sadly.
You can give me your parting shots. Basically, just to other Lastborns or other how you'd like.
You had a question for us. You said,
oh, guy, you have good memory. Now that you said you relate with older people because of your older siblings, like you relate with those generations. Do you think Lastborns lack your own identity?
No.
Do you feel like the music you listened to was not influenced? You found it out by yourself, like your fashion sense? Do you feel like that was not affected by your siblings?
I think we are all a mosaic of everything in our life.
Exactly.
Music, it's even if you like a specific genre of music,
Yeah.
because you listen to other types of music that you probably don't even listen to, other people listen to, and then from there you chose. So the idea around it is everyone actually that's what we want to emphasize here as Lastborns. Everyone has an identity. That identity is a mosaic of many experiences you have with different people. Lastborns are not any different.
Okay.
We are also like
Maybe
that.
that's why Lastborns are kind of different to some extent, because we have the taste of everything.
We are capable of picking from here and here and here and creating. And again, it's easy for you to look at it and think and say they don't have their own identity, but in reality, kwani is there new identities zimefunguliwa mahali? See, identity is just a person coming into themselves, and that can be informed by so many things.
Yeah.
What Lastborns have the wealth of is the fact that because they grow up in homes, I mean, even more if you have many siblings, you have more people to know. You don't always have to learn from an experience. You can learn by just observing people to know, oh, I don't like reggae music, but it's not because nobody likes reggae music in my home. It's because I've listened to reggae music, I have friends who love reggae music, and I decided I don't like reggae music. Lastborns have a tendency to have more people to learn from, and in that way, kind of, yes, it is a privilege,
Sort of
and kind of mold our own identities. So people like to think there's no identity because ukiniuliza takwambia, oh, now I can't help but go down the rabbit hole of Luo men content because of what Olive posts on TikTok. Is it because it's not a new thing? It's just Olive likes talking about it. I am not a Luo. I don't know Luo culture, so it kind of spikes an interest. So I just want to know things about this thing. Is it my thing? Probably not. But Olive talks about it. It makes me feel like it's interesting. Yeah.
I don't know why. As Lastborns, we appear like we are. I think it's because we love so many things. We do so many things at the same time.
Human beings struggle with understanding what they don't get, or invalidating what they don't get. The idea, there's a lot of sameness. A lot of human beings are, even when as Lastborns, most of the struggles we've talked about is because there's a lot of comparison. You're forced into being the same. Everyone expects you to be the same thing as many other people, but then Lastborns suffer a lot because of that. So there's always need to create their own, like who they are, and have like all that shape how people look at them, but also their identity. Now you'll definitely show up as something totally new to people because they don't get it. They'll be like, Lastborns don't have, no, I have an identity, just don't understand it, and it's fine.
Which is funny, but I'd say it's not an intentional thing. We just wake up.
Yeah.
For example, I'll give an example. I'm probably the only one who wear rings in our house. Coming from a very conservative family, we're all church people. So there's a way everyone will look at you. Even my bro will tell me, hey bro, I wish I could post half the things you say on your WhatsApp.
Yeah.
What do I say? So you just type
Oh, you don't
Random
realize.
things, like-
Yeah.
like I've seen something funny, I just post it. And I'm like, oh, so you guys can't post it? Why?
I get the same. I get the same.
So you just post. What's the way? Like, what's the bar? Okay, so when the Dubai yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like, where's my shorts? So when the Dubai kweli kuna mtu atakuuliza.
Yeah.
So
On my part,
now to mention this
mimi niko na tattoo on my chest, and my bros, they were like, how can we cuss?
Yeah, sure.
How the fuck uko na tattoo and you are told nothing?
Yeah.
Au mbona hukupigwa? Mbona hukukeleleshwa?
Yeah.
And I'm like, kwani mlikatazwa?
Oh, hakuna mtu alikukataza kutumia.
When you say, no, this thing is okay.
Yeah.
What's the problem? Alafu tena posting on WhatsApp. Wananiuliza, where do you get this audacity? See,
It's the Lastborn juice.
Just human beings.
Yeah.
It could also be, I mean, from a response, tumelemewa sana na a lot of be like so and so, be like and so and so. So we have, not only do we have to create our own identities, but we have to actually prove that our identities will work.
Your lifestyle is a rebellious course.
Yeah.
Like it's just,
And don't for a moment think we're just rebelling because we're just typical kids rebelling. We're rebelling because there's so much that we can't work with, and so we have to figure out.
So much everyone is trying to project.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like they're saying we should do it that way, but we can't work with that.
But then
So we
again-
have to figure out something that works for us.
But then again, your rebellion, it can be our identity. We can see it as our identity rather than
But we're not
rebellious.
No, but then I also, and I think it's true, being rebellious can be part of someone's identity, but I don't think it's collectively an identity for Lastborns
But
because
yeah.
because
Also
again,
could be a perception.
yeah,
Not-
again, that's what I'm saying. It could be a perception, it could be an identity, but it could just
Because
That's what I'm
if you
saying.
even see the
Sorry.
definition of rebellion by parents, let's say the boomers, it's very wild. Like if I just stopped going to church, that's a rebellious child. I'm not a
Imagine.
rebellious child.
I'm just not
decided
going to
sleep
church.
on Sunday. Yeah, so the way it's defined by people also is very different. Yeah.
Sasa ukikataa kutuma uende kufanya kitu na mambo kwa mjeuri umekuwa
Problematic.
rebellious.
You
And I-
are just tired.
See, umesema tu no, like can we just settle? I just said
Yeah.
no, I didn't say die. It's fine. Yes, I didn't say die, I just said no. Like literally, okay, you want ugali and I get you want ugali and you want ugali to be cooked. I just said no to cooking ugali. You can still want ugali and then go and make
Go and
ugali.
cook for yourself.
Literally nothing has changed. You know? But like nothing has changed. It's the expectation that I must make the ugali because I'm the last one. That's the problem. But ideally, you can make the ugali, or you can
Dimajor
find.
said a lot of projection. a
Yeah,
lot
but
of
you can
people
also find another person to make the ugali.
Yeah.
But also you can go buy ugali. Like literally, it's 2024. Go buy ugali. Let me be. Those, you know how we were brought up to
Delivery.
pick watu chapati as lastborns, and then you grow up and realize chapatis are not that serious. I can even
Chapati
go a
is
year
my
without
quick
eating.
meal.
Yeah, you like
Wow.
chapati. Hizo chapati zako zenye unakanga tandoori jina.
And the whole time,
Hey, lakini ukiona recipe ya olive ya chapati pia.
Stay together. Hey,
Chapo-
Yeah, lakini si chapo zenye una imagine. Ukikubali kusell hiyo bot, uko tayari kukula chapo according to
Chapo stew.
Olive's
Yeah.
restaurant. Today they can have dania and hoho in them. Tomorrow they can have
Chapo is chapo.
no, but like I was saying, and then you grow up and you realize you can buy chapo for 20 bob hapa hivi nje. Hii ndio kitu yenye mlikuwa mnanipea stress nyote mmemiss chapo, but amjisiki kupika last ball lazima apike. Get your shit together, man, and go buy chapatis.
Or download Glovo.
Yes.
That's the problem. Anyway,
Watch any videos out there with chapo.
Yeah.
thank you.
Different
Follow me on
recipes.
TikTok.
Different recipe.
the whole time umetupigia story kali.
One chapati, different recipes.
No, me, I want to close the podcast first so that we talk about my chapos. Do you have parting shots?
Yeah.
Yes.
See, everyone says,
Okay.
so I can start. Anyway, so being a lastborn, it's a whole experience, multifaceted in many ways.
Yes.
It's true.
Lastborn lingua right there.
Yeah. And lastborn lives matter. We need activists because we've been underdogs for so long.
Hey, my lord.
It's our time.
Politician, trust
It's our time. All the last one say,
Manifesto.
Please read out the
anyway,
manifesto.
I was saying
Yeah.
to all the older siblings, stop the judgments, the what do we call this? Anyway, the victimization, the bullying, because the bullying is still on.
Yeah, true.
Still
Even
on.
in
I don't know what
adulthood.
do you guys say?
Yeah.
We are still being bullied, and it's time it stopped. It's time to validate our opinions. It's time they see us as equals.
Yeah.
The last born era is done, and we are all grown ups now. Lakini for the last ones who are still young, at least listen to your older brothers and sisters. Listen to your elder siblings, in short. I think that's all.
Okay. Thank
My
you.
parting shot, I just saw a meme that is interesting, and I think it does a good summing up. Tomorrow is not promised, so cast them out today. And for lastborns, we live in an environment where we are made, again, the false hope thing, all these things, you can become this and this and this according to everyone else's gospel except yours.
Yeah.
And so, like, there is only today to live, but also for older siblings, but also parents and all that kind of stuff. Like, lastborns are human beings, guys. Yeah?
We have emotions.
And we have, most of the time, we have this huge responsibility to break vicious cycles. We may seem like, we are vocal, we are outspoken and all that kind of stuff, but
Yeah.
it's not always because it's a privilege. It's because we grow up in environments that really take away those parts of ourselves. So then we become grown-ups and we're like, yeah, I'm gonna
That would be
complain.
hard.
You should also complain when you're uncomfortable. You should also say no when you don't want to do something. You should also refuse to be in uncomfortable situations just because you are a lastborn or just a child.
Yeah.
Say no. And then parents, I'll keep on telling you, we are all here because of you people. Do better. If you want to be a parent, buckle up and parent.
Yeah.
Parent all children differently because all children have different needs. All children have different capacities. All children have different abilities. But all children deserve to be loved the same.
Yeah.
So explore that, find out what that is like. Na msizae mkichoka. Don't give birth to kids when you're tired. When you're tired, rest.
This podcast is proudly
And
sponsored
don't
by
give
Fire.
birth to your kibetis and sijui.
Yeah.
Very funny
Oh
saying
yeah,
in
kibeti yangu.
Kikuyu ati
Yeah.
unajua sasa tumezeeka, tunataka mtu anaweza inama
Yeah.
aingie
Oh.
chini ya kitanda we
Tafuta cha mvunguni. Cha mvunguni is
mliambiwa anataka unasema nini?
Sharti ni mama leo.
Sharti ya
Taka cha mvunguni sharti ainame.
look for Shari.
Mtoe mapema.
sharti
We are
mapema
not in a mind for
ama
you.
msikue na
Look for
mfunguni.
sharti. Sio look for sharti. Be sharti. And inama.
Ama uiname.
No, we also have backs. We're not trying to break them too early.
Shati is already bending. Just find Shati.
Thank you. Or don't have a mfunguni. Don't have
Or make higher beds.
Oh yeah, vacuum cleaner.
Or make higher beds. Upande na ngazi.
Yeah, we are here to give you solutions.
Solutions galore. Make a higher bed, make a stairs upande ama elevator upande kwa bed. Usikuwe na mvungu, utembee tu kwa mvungu.
Thank you. Thank you.
Come on guys.
Parting shots from that end of the room. Yeah.
My parting shot would be everyone has their own story, so just before you feel like, my people say I'm very vocal, I'm very confident, and I think the amount of things I really want to say and things I actually say,
Very different.
yeah.
Yeah.
But sir, just before you decide, nimekomea mimi lastborn, before you judge, just listen. And if you don't want to listen, then don't judge.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
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 At least make an informed judgment.
Una feel me navanga carelessly. Try to figure out why.
Uenda uvae careful huko.
Dress
Mimi nitavaa careless huku. Like we are good, it's fine.
Sasa being the last person to speak.
As a last one. when it rains, it pours, in it.
Dana, what is? All I'm saying, man, let's just hold space for each other. Like, we are just human beings who can exist.
Yeah.
What you think we got easy, should also think the same way in your situation. So yeah, just be graceful, hold space for each other. Don't date us, you deserve less. I'll keep saying that. I'm kidding. But yeah. Yeah, but let's have fun. We're just human beings. We're here for a short time.
Yeah.
We all want to have fun. We all want to be confident. We all want to wear cool. I know at times we do things that you wish we could do. Yeah, man, so let's just talk and make this society better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and subscribe.
Just the last one in December. If you're having a problem with what I'm doing, find a tuition.
And that's on period.
Do it too, yeah. Try it. You're being such last ones right now. But like that's why you came here, no? Content image.
I know. This is what you wanted to see, so.
Wangekuwa hapa hawangeamini, wangelia. This is the first time we would have made them cry.
Just the last thing, I always say it, but I don't know if I've said it enough times. It gets to a point where we're now grown-ups and you can't always blame it on being a child, what my past experiences. So I think what has been very teaching to me in the past 2 episodes, Firstborns and Lastborns, is that we are all struggling. So get to a point, get your shit together. Don't go bleeding on people because I'm a firstborn.
You were bled on, yes.
Itoshe, you are now 20-something years old. You can't keep complaining, going to
paying taxes for heaven's sake.
Do what you gotta do to exist as a decent human in the society.
To parents too.
Yeah.
Times have changed. Change too, it's fine. Like literally keep up.
Break the cycles. I think by now, this podcast is proudly sponsored by Gen Z and millennial parents. I keep mentioning them. You guys do a great job. The millennial and Gen Z parents I'm seeing right now are literally breaking cycles, and I love to see it. The only reason I want to grow old is to see
kids that were brought up by millennials and Gen Z.
Yeah, just to see how that will look like. I'm sure it will be such a happy time for humanity. Yeah.
That's another dynamic he's thinking about.
I'm sure even like the boomers were saying the same thing. Maybe.
Well, they were beating us black and
yeah.
Oh, this one is dead.
But we are also proving it. So we are showing
I'm not saying we are
So
bad.
we are showing them that we are breaking the cycles. We are showing them that we can be better. The parents now are proving it. So I think we are doing
Do you
whatever
think our parents think we are better?
But you see, that's the problem. That's the problem that even why I think Olive had to do this podcast. There's a lot of gaps. What will inform them not thinking we are better isn't because we are not better. It's because they are really stuck at not changing with the times. A lot of the harm that is happening in the society currently is because people don't want to change with the times. Like, how is it possible back in the days people wore lesser clothes, but sexual abuse was lesser, and now people wear more clothes, sexual abuse is more? There's something we can talk about there. Don't be stuck with it. There's so many things we can talk about. What we are saying here, even as the Lastborns, because we are the Lastborns and it's true. Don't be stuck with the times. Don't be stuck with the times. Things are changing. The reason Firstborns have their experiences, middle kids have their experiences, Lastborns have their experiences. I'm interested in the only children and twin children because I think those will be very unique because mostly they're not necessarily informed by other people's experiences. They're informed by experiences for themselves, within themselves. So I'm interested in that. But like, times are changing. That's why you're older and I'm younger. Change with the times, babes. Like, don't be stuck. Some things work from the old times, but many things don't work from old times. And learn that things, do the adapting she had to
Change
do to
or
maneuver
perish.
all that. Yeah.
But I think the technological advancement, it was too fast for the millennial.
It can't be too fast.
Yani, they haven't even had time
That's
to
what
adapt.
Charles Darwin. If you can't keep up, you die.
Usikwe mkali.
I am so tired when people try to like make excuses. Let me just sign off and then over this.
Until next week, this has been the In All Honesty podcast. My fabulous name is OLAVEORAWO, and thank you to my guests.
Subscribe.
Next on the In All Honesty podcast.
President of the people, ambassadors of the ghetto, Middleborns, it's your time to shine. So finally, we've had the Lastborns episode. We've had the Firstborns come and speak on their experiences. Now I'd like for the middle kids to come forward and just let's talk. For once, you're being seen. For once, you're not invisible. For once, there's an episode dedicated to you just talking, because you've been invisible all your life. And as a middleborn, I started a podcast so that you cannot be invisible anymore. So do share your experiences with me of being a middleborn, how you grew up, how that has affected your decisions in your life as an adult, how that has affected your relationships. And you can always reach out to me through my socials at OLAVEORAWO and through my email, send in your experiences at olaveorawo@gmail.com. Bye.
Do you hear that? Would you lend me some coins, please? The In All Honesty podcast needs you to continue running. I will deeply appreciate support from you. You can send monetary contributions to my Mpesa +254 728 171 059 via PayPal at OLAVEORAWO. That is OLAVEORAWO. You can support the podcast indirectly by buying merchandise and services I offer listed on my WhatsApp catalog. My WhatsApp number is +254 728 171 059. Did you think I'd forget? Advertise with the In All Honesty podcast. Hit me up to talk about it. You can do that via WhatsApp +254 728 171 059 or via email olaveorawo@gmail.com, or you can also DM me on socials at OLAVEORAWO. You know, the hand that gives will receive an episode every week. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm in what was once a dream. So if I do some quick math, the future equals a dream come true. Since 1992, In All Honesty, a podcast by OLAVEORAWO.